challenge Unicorns of Love in terms of that draft kingdom that we saw come out from the CIS team yesterday. And I think they have, in general, been one of the better teams when it's come to approaching the game and setting yourself up for success before you even get into it. You can see that Gragas...
The ban shouts are already started. We've just had Gragas ban, and they're already started.
I love this. I love this because I think Gragas has been one of the standout picks of the tournament so far. I know Ziggs has been 100% banned.
A Draven ban? I mean, we saw it yesterday. I'd be surprised if Ari gets 3 bans, by the way, as well here, because both actually have an Ari player. But the Ziggs ban 100% so far, all the way through the tournament. Yeah, Ziggs has been an R1 ban every single time. He's very strong. Again, as I said, something in Wild Rift is that the towers are a lot easier to take. Ziggs does melt them, and you can snowball very quickly off tower gold. There you go, the Ari, you mentioned it very correctly. Both mid laners are big Ari players. Ari herself, I would not say is like one of these absolute S-tier picks, but there are just some players that are particularly good with her that you don't want to let through. And both Team Queso and Game Lord, they have mid laners that both love Ari. So the Lee Sin jungle ban, or we've seen a top lane as well, obviously, could be anywhere. Camille as well. Actually, Game Lord banning out Camille, that's a specific target towards Acolyte, but it can flex between Andre and Acolyte. So we saw them both doing the split push with it yesterday. I'm getting so mixed in games. We had 10 games yesterday. There's a lot of games played out in one day. But here we go, first picks. Let's see what we're going to go with here. Will they aim for maybe just keep it quiet, keep it calm in the support? Obviously, the drafts, whether we were seeing sandbagging yesterday, if you got something special, now is the time to bring it out.
Well, you're not holding anything back for the final because it's knockouts now. So at the end of the day, you bring your best every single game. And you can see, I actually would say the picks and bans have been a lot slower, a lot more methodical, a lot more thought out, because we saw some
discussions right now.
Yeah, exactly. We saw some rapid fire drafts yesterday. But the Camille ban specifically because it flexes between Acolyte and Andre, it's a very good pick for them. The Lee Sin is an interesting one. Andre does play Lee Sin, but Zefter is known on the European server for being a god-tier Lee Sin player. So Zefter is not going to get his hands on that jungle pick. They are really thinking about first pick here.
I can tell you, Senna's available, so there may be a discussion over do we take Senna first, because it has been first pick. By the way, yesterday was first pick twice, lost both games.
Absolutely. It is a strategy that is very, very good and competitive, but can have its counters and can be difficult to play out. But Senna is a fasting Senna pick. You usually pair it up with the Galio, but we have seen some players pairing it up with the Orianna, and you just feed the Orianna with the Senna getting naturally powerful through her souls. But we'll wait to see. We're still waiting for that first pick.
I feel like that is the discussion. It's Queso's choice to make, and clearly figuring out through one of the bans are wrong, I've been told.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's the Draven.
Either way, the Senna is there.
Well, the Senna gets locked in here for Team Queso. So that does now mean that we're looking at a fasting Senna bot lane. It's usually the only way that it gets played. That means you will not have a traditional AD carry picked up by
I'm going to assume it was the Draven ban, right?
It was the Draven ban.
Because we were like, what?
It's been switched over. It's Riven.
There it is. There it is. That makes sense. It's a Riven ban. Okay, there we go.
That was not. By the way, just going to make that clear, it was not a ban error on the side of Queso. It's just one of our graphics.
Yeah. I mean, a DR Raven.
Raven. Almost there.
Someone just said Raven and they heard Riven. There you go. So that's got to be it. That's got to be it.
What I'm going to say is we're going to get 2 picks. So this is really interesting, okay? I just mentioned the 2 picks that classically get paired up with Senna in a fasting Senna bot lane. One of which is Galio, one of which is Orianna. And they get taken away on the next rotation.
And Unicorns of Love literally said to me afterwards, we really wanted to have an Orianna with the Senna in that bot lane. So immediately that's going to be interesting. But Kha'Zix coming in.
And
we did see it being used very successfully yesterday, and the Renekton as well paired with it for Acolyte, most likely.
Acolyte, absolutely. I'm going to tell you right now. Do you remember I talked about Team Queso being predictable? There was a series versus Rick's GG, previously No Team, No Talent, where they let this kind of like Camille, Kha'Zix for Andre and Acolyte on the top lane go through. And that was the predictability of the draft that Ricks were kind of talking about. Andre is an excellent Kha'Zix player. He's probably the best Kha'Zix player at this competition, closely followed by Doom, and Acolyte is incredibly good on the Renekton. So we have some comfort coming through here for Team Queso, and comfort is often what sets them up to perform well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's the Diana coming through as well. The Nami getting picked in with the Wukong. We did have one Wukong yesterday, I believe. Obviously, it did get nerfed slightly in the 2.4B, but the Nasa's coming through. So that's going to be alongside Senna, I'm guessing.
Yes, that will be a Senna Nasa's bot lane. Again, I'm a little worried here because it's very melee heavy. Yeah, Fiora comes through, which was left open here.
That's going to be random as well, isn't it?
That's going to be random. I personally wouldn't have been averse to the Darius here for the same reason that we saw the Darius from Game Lord into Unicorns of Love. You've got a heavy melee comp and Darius thrives into 4 melees coming through.
Ooh, I like this draft. I like this draft. Let's get it in your screens, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. The first semi-finals of the Wild Rift Origin Series Championships. Team Queso as the blue team and Game Lord starting out on the red. It is a best of 5. All the best of 1s out the way. It's best of 5 and best of 7 tomorrow in the finals.
So, couple of things that you're going to want to keep your eyes on over the course of this first game. Specifically, keep your eyes peeled towards Vejos on this Galio. Galio is a great anti-melee champion, specifically very decent in team fights. If he can land a huge taunt onto 4 melees and allow Redemption on the Orianna to do his work, then we could be looking at a really strong counter to this kind of like heavy melee comp coming out from Team Queso. But there is plenty of scaling for Team Queso. And what I really love about this strategy that we've just seen here from Acolyte, Acolyte shared mid lane wave experience and immediately roamed up top. The reason that he did this is to try and counter the Fiora. Fiora's level 1 is by far and away the most obnoxious level 1 in the game. So what Acolyte has done is he shared mid lane wave experience, and then he went straight up towards the top lane, hit level 2 before Random was able to, and that has now given him lane priority very early on. And lane priority versus a Fiora is almost impossible to establish.
Well, Acolyte with that Renekton, we saw some very strong Renektons yesterday. Redemption and Show put on a show yesterday. They were an impeccable bot lane pairing, and it is going to be hard, no doubt about it, for Memorize and Nibu. They got no real presence to pressure, and with that Orianna ball in the face 24/7 throughout here, and of course if they step forward, well, they could be eating a bubble.
I would say that Orianna is great at kind of harassing in the lane, but she's very mana hungry, and she's not exactly going to bully this Nasus out of the lane. So Nasus will be continually able to farm. Senna shouldn't be too threatened either. And so I think for the most part, this is just going to be scaling versus scaling on this bottom side of the map. That's not really what you want to do into a Nasus Senna. Yeah, Nasus Senna is one of the hardest scaling bot lanes that we have.
And I just want to point out, in terms of the bans, because obviously we saw the Fiora coming in last, I wonder if they were just expecting a Vayne to be in this bot lane. But I mean, they last picked Nasus, so they didn't really know what to get next. Maybe they guessed that Wukong was potentially top? I don't know.
I think, you know, as we said, that people do like to pick up that Nasus into the Vayne. The Wither does make it quite difficult for her. But so that might have been what they were predicting. But the other thing is that most of the good options that you pair up with Senna for a fasting Senna lane had already been taken. So Nasus then sits there as probably one of the best options that you have left on the table. That's very likely why we've seen it.
Yeah, yeah. Keeping the pressure on Rui. He's going to just annoy Veos there as he tries to back away. Yep. Little taste of the fear signal in there from Andre. And he's just going to come in and get a bit of lane tax, and off he goes.
He's getting a little bit of priority as well. Just allowing Ruiz to come through. The reason that you just saw Andre do that is because he really wants to give Ruiz the ability to head back towards his... he can head back towards his base and pick up a couple of items and do it without fear of losing minions. So basically your jungler comes into the lane, pushes that wave in with you, allows your laner to back. It's just a risk-free way of getting your laner back to base, back into lane without losing any minions to the tower.
So, back around in their standard jungle paths, both picking up the red buff, heading back to buy... There's Andre. I say Andre. I got told off. I got told off, didn't we? We're not saying it right.
I'm going to stick with Andre.
Andreas.
But I unfortunately, if I keep trying to focus on that, I probably will.
Yeah, I tried to say, look, we've said Andre for months. I'm just going to say Andre. It's just the way it's going to be. But anyway, let's try and break down how this is going to play out, because I'm expecting this to be a somewhat slower approach. Yes, we do have the Rift Herald and Dragon spawning a Mountain Drake coming up in just a moment, so we'll see whether that is going to be a pause for thought. Now, this is interesting. They're both looking towards the Rift Herald.
I think the problem that you're going to have as Team Queso is your team fight, apart from the Diana, is a lot more is inferior. Really, I'm going to put it that way. It is an inferior team fight to what Game Lord are bringing to the table. And Game Lord have a lot of tools that are very good against heavy melee comps, notably the Wukong, the Orianna, and the Galio. And I think all of those things are going to allow Game Lord to have the advantage, especially post level 5 when it comes to team fights around these neutral objectives.
I mean, the fact is, obviously, neither team, weirdly enough, is bringing in effectively what we would call the traditional AD carry. You know, the Dragon Laner, obviously with the center in there. There's a chance on Acolyte. Shockwave misses. Comes in a little slow. You know, we'll give Redemption a buy for that, because obviously, you know, he's not a mid laner. we'll allow him to get away with that one.
He actually played mid for a little bit, but before he came back into the AD carry position for Game Lord, but still a strong Orianna player. Going to try and see a push into this top lane tier 1. Got another wave crashing in. It is a siege minion wave. This might allow Game Lord to pick up the first tower of the game without expending that Rift Herald, most importantly.
So dangerous for both side lanes. I really want to draw your attention to the mid lane at the moment, because I'm seeing the Kha'Zix pushing around. They're really focusing on that mid lane turret as well. The top one will go down, but of course, the problem is diving a Galio is very hard. It's such a tank.
But also, Galio's got incredible wave clear in his kit. So it's very difficult to actually consistently push waves in. You see there, the Winds of War basically clears the wave out, and a couple extra skills or even just a basic attack, and you're not actually getting much damage onto tower. So Game Lord have managed to edge themselves into a objective lead, but actually not a gold lead right now, because they did lose that tower on the bot side of the map. And as we saw on the gold graph, Andre has been able to farm a lot more consistently than Zefter, and he's got himself an experience advantage, but most importantly, has built up almost a 700 gold lead purely through good rotations and farming in the jungle.
I really do love, I know you mentioned it, but I really do love Game Lord's team fight composition they have. I mean, there's so much in their locker in terms of obviously the Cyclone, you know, a possible hero's entrance on top, a Shockwave possibly coming on top, the wave disengage, and then of course Fiora can come in and pick off who the heck she likes. It was really an interesting one, but from that angle, there's not too many squishy targets either on the Queso side of things. So very intense team fights I think we're in for here, because of course it's going to be all about who they can get in. But I would say my worry for Queso is pretty much similar to what we saw with Unicorns yesterday, is they're generally pretty much melee. I mean, other than Ibu, but I mean, even Ibu, you know, the fasting center takes a while to get going. Yeah,
very heavy melee, and they're all quite weak to the Orianna, and there isn't much way of threatening the Orianna outside of a really good Diana ultimate, or, you know, Acolyte having a flash stun available. But, you know, once the stasis comes through for Redemption, he's going to be relatively safe in these team fights. He has plenty of peel available to him, though. Shkao playing the Nami. That wave is a great peeling tool. We have the Galio knockup, the Galio taunt, the Wukong knockup. There is lots of good ways to keep Redemption safe here. And that's the problem that I have with Team Queso composition. Eventually, and we've seen it time and time again over the first day of the Origin series, you have to fight 5v5 for the most part. You have to come to the Elder Dragon. You have to come to the Baron. And you have to throw your cards on the table and say what you got in a team fight. And usually those team fight comps that have got the edge come out on top as well, as long as there's no major crazy gold advantage built up before them.
Yeah, and the gold difference that's currently showing for Queso is very much for Ruiz over Vios at the moment. You can see it's a 500 gold differential between the two. Other than that, it is also the jungle for Andre. So
it's all through just efficient farming right now. And you can see that Memorized even stealing away some jungle camps here, getting some stacks.
Cheeky Siphoning Strike to finish the job as well. That's something we got to keep our eye on as well. I mean, we haven't really mentioned it. Talking about obviously Senna's stacks, you know, let's talk about NASA's stacks, because obviously the whole point of is starving out Ibu is to keep giving them Siphoning Strikes and stacking it up. It's a massive stacking game for Queso, and it's going to get a bit scary when it goes late game.
Can't quite see the stacks just yet. He's actually maxing his third ability to ensure that he's able to clear waves as quickly as possible. It doesn't really matter about anything else. He can just stack up when he can.
He's only got the 9 stacks at the moment, so not a lot. Just started by the looks of it, so it's going to be a while to go there. But we are starting to see them grouping up here. The Rift Herald obviously was picked up earlier. Now, of course, with the Drake coming up in just a moment, we can tell, obviously, on the screen that Queso are very much interested in this one. That's a nice answer from Game Lord. Said, you know what? You want a position for that? We're going to throw the Rift Herald down and force you to face us in the mid.
I like that. I think it's creating some natural priority. It's going to force Team Queso away from the Drake. Now Game Lord can look to get positional advantage here. That's a nice shockwave, but the damage isn't there for Redemption just yet.
And they're going to go straight into it. And look at that Senna catching all 5 members. That is just about the perfect engagement that Queso could hope for, but the damage is still lacking. They get everything they want, and all they get is 1, make it 2 kills. That really is, honestly, not a lot. A 2-for-1 trade from what was the perfect engagement.
but they also get the Ocean Drake off the back of this D-Man, so that's a really important one for them. The Omni Vamp is going to allow them to sustain in the FTT fights, especially with the Nasus having that passive lifesteal in already. However, I think warning signs there for Queso.
Yeah.
You mentioned it in the fight. It was a perfect center engage. They had an absolutely huge coverage of the shield. They actually had a pretty good setup on the engage. They had a lot of damage done beforehand. So watch this. Look at how much damage was done before the team fight even started. Yet, they were struggling versus the heavy CC and the taunts coming through. Now, unfortunately, Game Lord need a little bit more time to scale up that Orianna damage. They probably need a bit more time to scale up with the Fiora as well. But overall, Game Lord didn't come away too bad from that. Still Queso in the lead, though. They have now got a 4,000 gold lead to work with. Going to try and chase down Ruiz on the top side of the map.
So Ruiz just getting himself a death cap, by the way. It's going to be pretty scary here, but with a 3-man engage, make that 4 as they come joining in. The Cyclone working wonders, but Random's in trouble. He will get taken down, a 1-for-1 trade as everybody else joins the party.
Great response there from Team Queso. 1-for-1 overall.
I love how vocal, by the way.
Yeah,
we were talking about, obviously, Game Lord getting so vocal yesterday. Queso were very much in that. Don't count the Spaniards out when it comes to a shouting match.
I mean, they are really going for it. This is a different Queso from yesterday. They are hyped up. And the team fight wins, they're giving them that extra energy, and I'm loving what I'm seeing from Team Queso. Honestly, I believe Game Lord came in as a clear favorite into this matchup, but Queso, they're now playing their team fight out pretty well. They've got a good gold lead to work with. The only red flag for them is watching out the redemption scaling. Again, you saw it in that team fight around the Dragon. Despite having a really good engage, despite having an excellent start to that team fight, they didn't clean house, and they were also some low HP bars for them too. So you just have to be a little bit aware that redemption is still a worry. We have another fight though.
Well, they're going to come around. Memorize actually might get caught out, but the fact is he's a Nasus, and Nasus takes a little while to kill. Will go down. Even the flash was used as well, and the wave actually catching onto Andre there didn't cause another one, but you can see Game Lord looking to try and pick up where they left off. But in terms of objectives, Queso get the mid tower.
It looks like Game Lord actually going straight for the Baron here.
Wow,
Queso are very
really
well aware of it. This is a little bit too risky if I were you. They're going to force out the teleport from the Kazakhs. Oh, he's going for it!
He's going for it. The Cyclone goes through, but there's not a lot of backup from... They can see redemption on absolutely nothing. They get around the backside. The Kazakhs will go down, but as it will be a 1-for-1, the disengage comes through. Make that a 2 because, well, I know it was a 1-for-1. Nasus is still in base, just chilling.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure about the decision-making from Game Lord there. On
2-for-1. Okay, it was a 2-for-1.
Yeah, it was a 2-for-1.
I was looking.
You were correct. I'm not sure on the decision-making from Game Lord there. I wasn't particularly sold.
I think that was way too early. They don't... if you're going for a Baron that early, you've got to have a big advantage.
They don't even have a particularly quick Baron to play either. It's not like they burst that down instantaneously. Really loving this objective focus from Team Queso there. They're going to pick up another tower on the top side of the map. They can accelerate that gold lead up to 6,000 now. And I think one of the problems that Game Lord are struggling with is they are yet to get major objectives apart from that top lane tier 1.
And if you think back to the Unicorns of Love game yesterday that Queso had, we were talking about that, Queso were perfectly objective focused. The only reason they lost that game was one fight. One single team fight.
Yeah.
In terms of objectives, they absolutely dominated the map. So looking great so far. All 3 tier 1 turrets down. Now the question is, where do we go from here? Yeah, Acolyte taken very low actually in the mid there.
You can see Vejos trying to buy a bit of space for his team to siege onto this tier 1 in the mid, but they can't quite do anything about it. Infernal Dragon is live in 20 seconds. There is a decent advantage to work with if you're Team Queso, despite maybe your team fight's not being as strong as what Game Lord are bringing to the table.
Look how aggressive. Memorize must be loving this, by the way. As support player, getting to play Nasus, he's like, yes! This is my time to shine, boys. And he knows he can be aggressive because he's obviously generally got the hit points. You can throw that ulti down and get away from this one. They will steal away the blue buff. Here comes the Infernal Drake. And now here comes Game Lord.
They are actually trying to get onto this to try and at least get some edge. But that's a really fed Ibu on this center now. He's got a huge amount of souls to work with. Zefter's already taken a decent amount of damage to start this off. Now, Random procs the Dragon.
Oh, they're split.
And they are split. I don't think you can be split if you're Game Lord here. You have to be very careful about how you approach these team fights.
Yeah, and you can see Queso were purposely trying to force that split out there. So a 2-3 split. The Wukong down the south side at the moment with Zefter wanting to try and get involved in this one. Random, got to be careful he doesn't get picked off. There's the Cyclone coming through. He gets his 1-2. But Game Lord is getting turned around. The Hero's entrance comes through, but he's not doing a great deal at the moment. The Shockwave just kind of whiffs out there, and it's Queso they're looking good, but Game Lord are going to pick up 1, 2, 3 kills. The damage absolutely nowhere for Queso. Ruiz tries to get away. He's gone know where to run and memorize the last man standing. It was a fantastic engage, but there was no damage.
And that's the problem. You saw it right there. Too much CC layered on top of each other. The Black Cleaver making these tanky targets easy to take down for random. And that is the problem we talked about from draft. You just have a heavy melee comp into a Wukong and a Galio. They're going to knock you up. They're going to taunt you. They're going to continue to knock you up. And Orianna, she wasn't even there for like 30 seconds of that fight, it felt like. And by the time that she arrived, they were able to clean up the fight. And Game Lord just showing why their composition is decent into this heavy melee. Now we're seeing a teleport come through here, maybe trying to catch someone out individually, but random gets back. We maybe have a Baron to think about next soon. Let's take a look back here. Right, this is Zefter. Actually really gets away with it because they go heavy on his clone, and we see that the engage from Vejos comes onto Zefter's clone specifically. They did a huge amount of damage, the Black Cleaver doing great work for random to pick up some kills on the sideline, and by the time the Redemption got there was no gap closing ability to threaten him, and Redemption was able to get a huge shockwave off and massive damage to a very clubbed up Team Queso. And I think actually that last point is actually really important for the way these team fights play out. Team Queso in general are going to sit on top of each other. They want to be a big death ball. They want the Diana to bring everybody into the Nasus ultimate, dealing damage over time. They want to get big value out of the Colmeek from the Renekton. They're looking to be a grouped up death ball, and that's why the Orianna comes in so big versus this composition.
It was Zefter with a 3-man knockup with a Cyclone into a 4-man knockup from Vejos with the Galio's hero entrance, and then Show comes in with a wave, and that is just goodbye, Ibu. Don't even bother fighting this one, just get the hell out of there because you can't do a thing about it. Acolyte will fall, and that's got to be Baron.
A little bit of a shaky early game for Game Lord, but their comp is coming up clutch right now. It does deal with what Team Queso are bringing to the table. Vejos has been huge on this Galio, and Andre overextends just a little bit. He's trying to stop this Baron, but they're going in again.
Go for the pounce, and that's going to be Andre. Has to get away from this one. They try and turn it back around, and that is never going to work. He got himself a quick double, though, out of nowhere. You're going to love to see it. Ruiz popping off. He could go back in. He gets another. Ruiz is going off. Oh, my God. Did that just happen?
Oh, my word, Ruiz. Absolute monster on the Diana. And Game Lord just unable to find the kill onto the most important member on this Team Queso roster. They're trying to balance this Baron damage right now. The center ultimate to buy them some shield. This will be Baron secured for Team Queso off the back of Ruiz alone.
Unbelievable. I tell you what, cue up the replay for that because let's have a look at how the hell that played out.
We'll see it in just a moment. Here we go. Let's take a look back at that fight. Peel off Baron. Baron done a lot of work at this point. Andre able to flash away from the shockwave. That was an absolutely ludicrous Diana ultimate.
And look at Andre off the side
exactly.
here.
Just waiting for his moment. Just waiting for his moment. Ruiz had the stopwatch, or rather the stasis, and had the flash available to escape. Played that excellently. Just well-timed defensive abilities there coming out from Ruiz. And already Game Lord had expended too much and not able to get enough from it. That was a big, big win for Team Queso when it really felt like Game Lord had turned the tide on this game.
A quadrat for Ruiz. And, you know, honestly, I can't fault Game Lord for that. It was the right decision to go for Baron then. They're
going in for another engage.
They go straight away. The grand challenge comes through, and it's going to be on Ibu this time around, and he will get taken down. Meanwhile, the rest of the team are fighting at the back there. Andre tries to back away, and they realize the death ball is not great at the moment. But here comes Ruiz around the back,
again.
And Ruiz is lighting them up. Redemption in trouble, and Andre and Ruiz are unstoppable.
Absolute monster, Andre, again, with Ruiz in the back line, able to find this. They're going to go push down that bot lane tower, and they should be able to take the game with the Baron here. Absolutely easy as you like. And Ruiz, the hero for Team Queso in this game, has found them the first win in this series.
Incredible first match. Team Queso will take the first game in the series, and it's all about the man in the middle, Ruiz.
You could hear
what a showing from him.
I was watching him all the way through this series. He was absolutely going mental. Every team fight win, and they were given as good as they got right there. That was absolutely ludicrous from Ruiz. He was really strong that game, and the Diana came in clutch and refined themselves in this next game. They had their moments there. They were hyping it up as well. But I think Team Queso played that excellently, and massive credit to Ruiz. What a player on that Diana. I think he single-handedly salvaged some of those situations, and I think single-handedly put them on a platter.
Just Is that right? Queso stay on the blue and Game Lord stay on the red?
You get choice.
Do you get the choice? It's choice or first ban, right?
No, it's just choice of side when you lose.
Choice of side, right?
Choice of side when you lose, I believe. So Game Lord.
So they chose to have the first ban, basically the first pick.
But they also value R5 counter pick. So the benefit of red side is that you get that option to counter pick something, either compositionally or lane wise, and that's why they've chosen red.
I wasn't sure since it was the best of 5 we were going with the old tried and traditional, but it is tried and traditional in terms of bans. The exact same bans of game number 1 so far, which means the Elysium will come through. It is identical.
Do we ban the Senna here?
Do they? Yeah.
I genuinely think the Senna was something that Team Queso or either Game Lord were struggling to deal with, I think, in that game.
No, especially as Camille.
Okay, well, Senna's open again here for Team Queso if they want to go for it. And you're not going to pick a Nasus if you're Game Lord, and if you have to go for that Orianna Galio rotation again, you have to be pretty confident that you've got something that's going to give you the edge, especially in that early game that was so difficult for Game Lord to wrestle.
I mean, Queso have proven that they don't need that Orianna alongside the Senna. The Nasus worked certainly very well for Memorized throughout that. As you mentioned, he needs to be that tanky brick wall. The wave clear was purposely leveled, as we saw when we looked at him for the stacks, and we could see that he was maxing out the E. I was going to say the E. It's not the Siphoning Strike.
You can just say like first ability or third ability, mate.
It's the third ability.
Third ability. There you go.
No, I need.
Everyone knows what you're talking about.
No, I want the name, the exact name. No, I have the name, the exact name. It is the Spirit Fire.
Well done.
There we go.
I'm sure you've elevated the knowledge of our viewers.
Everybody out there that knows all the spell names will be happy. But it is a slight variation this time around. So the Senna was locked in along with the Galio, but this time the Aurelia coming through.
Aurelia gets locked in.
Big fan.
Yeah, I love Aurelia. I think she's really strong in Wild Rift right now.
The remake that came through certainly worked out well, and it's transferred so well into Wild Rift.
Yeah, absolutely. And also she plays quite nicely on the device too. I'm still not very good with her, unfortunately. You have to be very good to really master her, but great pick. And the Vi
comes pop stomp with her, that's about it.
Absolutely. Vi comes through, the Acolyte Renekton gets locked in again, but the Vi is an interesting pick for me.
They didn't go for the Orianna, which was available because they obviously realized, no, I don't think Game Lord wants it. So the Renekton does come in, as you say, for Acolyte, and that means that the Darius coming in for random.
See, I really like this. The Darius comes through now, and that is much better into full melee comps or heavy melee comps. It's actually how Game Lord dealt with the Unicorns of Love, Senna, Nasus,
and that to go with it, the Corki as well,
and
for the shred.
As well, exactly. Now the option is here for Team Queso. Do they go for another Nasus, or they're going to pick the Orianna, which is available, and it is a ranged option that pairs quite nicely with the Senna. But the Twisted Fate coming through, that is interesting. Single target lockdown is a little weak to the Aurelia, though, so you have to be a little careful in the mid lane. Well, it's not even, it's Aurelia jungle. Of course it is. It's Aurelia jungle coming through the Game Lord. Yeah,
because the Galio's in there. There is the Nasus once again to pair with the Senna in the Dragon lane. And of course that leaves a support. Is it going to be the Nami once again? The Nami disengage is certainly very
apparently double
useful. Don't think it's going to be a double Galio.
I will get confirmation.
Gotta be honest. We will just we'll figure out exactly what it is, whether it is the Nami that came in with. Honestly, every support is pretty much available to.
I mean, Galio. I'll be real. Galio could be a support option here. There is a potential for Galio. Obviously, it's not double Galio, but yeah, it could be a support option Galio, but it's obviously not double Galio in this particular instance. Yeah. Well, it's a surprise. We'll find out. It's going to surprise you and us. Everybody will be surprised by this, apart from the players. They know exactly what it is, of course. So, yeah, the game's about to get underway. Team Queso won the first one in there. The correct pick and ban will come up, apparently. I have been told.
I tell you what, I'm on baited breath.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's Jarvan. It is Galio support.
So it is Galio support, yeah.
Or Jarvan support. Both of them have been.
Actually, could work, yeah. Or it could be Jarvan jungle and Aurelia top, or there's all sorts.
The only problem that when you're playing, it won't be Darius support.
No.
The only problem.
So it's Aurelia mid.
It's Aurelia mid, very likely. It's good into Twisted Fate. It could also be the Jarvan mid, which we saw into Twisted Fate over in the Southeast.
Yeah, that's true. That just played out. Was it this morning or was it yesterday? I can't even remember. Let's get the game underway. It is game 2 here in the semi-finals of the Wild Rift Origin Series Championships. Once again, it is Team Queso, 1 game up in the series. Incredible first game. If you just joined us, where the hell were you? You saw some magical gameplay coming out from Rui and Game Lord. Game Lord, wow. Honestly, they were looking good. They were looking golden. They thought they had it in the bag. They got it down to a 3v5, went for Baron, and it all went wrong from there. And it snowballed very quickly out of hand. Acolyte joining just briefly for Ruiz.
It was in the same in the first game, and the reason that this happens is it allows Acolyte to get a very quick level 2 going back to the Baron lane. And versus the Darius, this allows him to establish a very quick lane priority, which is nice. And you can see here, random will not hit level 2, and Acolyte will take 1 minion, and he'll hit level 2, and now he has automatic lane priority in this lane. And that's actually something that has happened both games, and it's happened again here to Game Lord, and that means Acolyte has the immediate edge in this Baron lane matchup.
Just to starve him of the gold, try and slow things down. All these small advantages do add up to pretty big ones. As you can see, Acolyte already building that gold advantage there. Finally is the level 2 coming through, but with a little help from his friend. Of course, let's talk about the Vi jungle. Obviously, you know, a tried and tested and a fantastic engage for Queso.
Absolutely. Got good single target lockdown. It's one of the good ways to actually put pressure onto Redemption here. Now, Zephyr has walked up towards this top River Scuttler. We actually have an engage from, oh my word, Vejos went 2v1 and forced it onto Andre.
And still going. I mean, he knows that he can bully out Ruiz, but with the range minions and the cannon minion there, that is dangerous.
So this is really interesting. Look immediately at Jarvan. He's heading back down. They're trying to double scuttle this. He's already smited it for the HP, and Shkau's coming in.
There's the slow. Corki's going to come across. Redemption will be there, but of course the two Dragon laners are both involved as well, and Andre will back away.
Andre gets away with that. I could see that Zephyr was trying to punish him for it, but wasn't able to. They weren't able to do it quickly enough. Actually sacrificed that top River Scuttler to try and get a double scuttle advantage here in the early game. But Zephyr will settle for the top scuttle for the time being. Probably head back towards his own jungle now.
Whew, okay, settle down, settle down. 400 gold differential that has been accrued by Queso, but of course, with that playing out as it was, Acolyte was also heading down in the jungle there, so he's just gifted the advantage he had over Random back away. The roots come through, but Show won't worry about that one. Redemption collects his gold down the bottom, and there things will level out as they all go back to buy for the first time.
Ibu's been getting free stacks on this bot lane as well there, because obviously Shkau being a melee champion, if you're not able to go for the engage, you're not able to look for the fight versus Ibu, he's just going to be able to stack off you very nicely. And again, Ibu was an absolute force in that last game. Definitely something to look at.
Oh, under the tower, gotta get it.
Here.
Vejos trying to get away from this one. Zephyr is gonna come through. Ruiz using the Destiny just to give him the vision, but there's no one there for the follow. Meanwhile, the top lane engage comes through. They go for Random, and that is a triple. That's what they're after. Ruiz does use the dunk! The dunk of the Ruiz! Andre's gonna tick! It's a two-man kill. They do indeed also get in the mid lane Andre down, so they actually got 3 for 1 there.
Random just 3v1.
Yeah,
got 2 kills and got 2 kills out of it. The big thing was the Decimate. He got a huge heal back from the first ability there on Darius, and that was allowed him to set up for a couple of dunks that worked in his favor. That is an injection of confidence that you need if you're Game Lord coming into this game.
Whew. All these advantages, they're going to clock up. I feel this one's going to be a burner. This is going to go the distance, boys. I can sense it. Here we go. Let's have a look at the replay. So this is the engage at the top. As you say, does manage to get the cleave in and then gives him that heal back, enough to get the double dunk off because he got the reset. Ibu was dived under the turret. Very nicely juggled with the turret aggro, by the way, as well. Zephyr gets away with that one.
Yeah, and they also give the kill over to Vejos as well, I believe, which is going to allow him to have a little extra edge. Big priority now for Game Lord. And again, they've got good anti-melee tools in their comp.
We're 4 minutes in already. I don't know where this game is going. Time is flying by. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't expecting Dragons up already, but here we go. We're at that time of day, and we're going to go straight in with the gold card. Catching straight in. Show's in trouble. Trying to get away from that one. There's a fail flash came out from Andre, though, and he wasn't able to lock him down.
They just had the vision advantage there. They knew exactly what they were getting into when they dived into that brush. And that's going to allow that first dragon in the game go the fate way of Team Queso. They've used a lot of ultimates to get that done.
Zephyr wants it, you know.
And Zephyr's looking for it.
That's too risky. Too risky. Just give it up. Give it up.
We've got the package, though. We've got the package.
It's going to come in. He goes to the dunk. Doesn't manage to lock it down, though. The Vine, meanwhile, is going to get locked in there. Will try and come away. But he's in all sorts of trouble. They're going to catch on to the mid laner as well. And that is going to be memorized, picked off at the same time. So a 2 for 0. They didn't get the dragon, though.
Doesn't matter, though, because the Ocean Drake is relatively low value comparative to the other dragons. And I'm sure Game Lord will just be happy with the edge. And it's allowed them to gain natural pressure on the bot side of the map and maybe pick up the first tower of the game here, which would be a big win for them because that would be a gold injection. They're already 2,000 gold in the lead. This will be a lot more in their favor.
And let's not forget, the Rift Herald is up at the moment. That's where Queso are now going. We already see that Game Lord are transitioning to try and just cover off that top turret. Maybe there's a focus on that, but it will be the Rift Herald, so that's a small nothing going Queso's way after losing. Yeah, consolation prize. That's the word I was after. Thank you. But let's have a look at this.
I mean, you have the Corki package, so you absolutely go for this every day of the week.
And the knock-up, the Hero's entrance. I think he was mid-slide to go out of the pit, and the Hero's entrance caught him.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a flash over the wall to finish it off there. So it was a nice play from Game Lord. I think Zefta made the correct decision here because they had the package on Redemption. It's a really great zonal control tool, especially around these neutral objectives. Wasn't able to outsmite Andre on the Dragon. It would have been the icing on the cake if he had. But that's a double objective take, but they do lose the first tower of the game.
But look at this. Look at this. All that Acolyte work at the start is completely undone. 1,000 gold difference going Random's way already. That's not good news because they want to try and sort of split lane as much as they can. And Acolyte, 1,000 gold down, that's going to be very hard work for him against Random. Yeah,
Random now, any kind of fight that he gets, he'll be able to just dunk down and very quickly take advantage there. Something else that's worth noting is that we have this discussion in Wild Rift about the value of First Rift Herald. Like, what is the value of First Rift Herald? Usually, it's to ensure that you can get first tower of the game. If you lose Rift Herald to first tower of the game, and the enemy takes that first tower whilst you're going for Rift Herald, usually you've lost a bit of value of that objective.
They want the tier 2 turret, don't they? That's what they're going for. They're trying to lock it down. The red buff will come across, and there is the engage. Zefta's going to be locked up here. I don't think he's going to be able to get away from it. He won't. He gets taken down. It's Acolyte that manages to pick up one. Can he get Veos down as well? Veos comes through, gets himself a second. The Aurelia will fall, though. So it is at the moment a 2-4-1 in favor of Queso, but the re-engage is coming back. I'm not sure it's the right choice because Ruiz is back here. The gold card goes down. That's going to be locked onto Random. Random, though, will just turn around. Oh, the trade goes down. I do not agree with that. Re-engage. Oh, Redemption gets away with it.
Very, very, very greedy from Game Lord to make a very aggressive push into the red side jungle there. Maybe stronger than they felt they were, especially when Random has got a huge chunk of the gold on your team. I think you need him there in these skirmish and teamfight situations to ensure that you're threatening those melee champions to the greater extent. Again, brilliant route from Ibu. He's been fantastic on this center so far. The individual lockdown potential of the Team Queso roster is very, very good. But this is the problem when you have a heavy melee comp into a Galio. You're just able to get taunted up and dealt with very quickly. I don't know why Xiao flashed over the wall there. I think he was tanky enough to be able to stay there for a bit longer. But again, once Random joins the fight, he is a big threat. Flash from Ruiz forward just to try and stop him from getting in. But unfortunately, Andre gets locked up and Random picks up those double buffs.
Yeah, just a bit too deep there, but that is generally the problem of Vi, and that is Aurelia following Memorized all the way through. The drag back comes out from Random. No way you're getting away with that one. Destiny used, but that's purely for nothing to give the vision, but away they go. And I gotta be honest, it's looking similar to Game 1. Game Lord in control, but they've got to be careful of those team fights.
Yeah, I think Veos right now still relatively squishy. If he goes in, very easy for Acolyte and Andre to lock him down. They have the single target CC from Ruiz as well. So picking your moments as Veos on this Aurelia will be very important to you. Although look at this, an overextension from Ruiz and Redemption's gone in.
Yeah, that's going to be Ruiz in all sorts of trouble. He's not going to get away with that like you can with Diana, that's for sure. And down will go Twisted Fate.
Speaking of Diana, Diana actually would have been a really good option in this game.
Yeah, was available.
It was indeed. You can see the Rift Herald dropped mid here to create some pressure around this tower.
Yeah, we almost forgot about him. He's still he's been hanging around for a while. Will finally go down, but I don't think they're going to get any value out of it.
This is one of the extra uses of Rift Herald. You use it to create some natural priority around the second dragon of the game. Unfortunately, because you're a man down, you kind of lose the usefulness of that priority.
They're not even going to challenge.
Yeah.
Not even going to challenge, which actually I think is the right choice.
I also agree with you there, Demon. I think it's the right choice not to challenge because there is that package available for Corki.
Got to be careful of the mid. You can see the Vi putting the pressure. Andre on the top lane. The hook comes through, and it's taken incredibly low. Gets the root down. Still yet to fall. The tower doing the damage. Veos will fall, and you can see Redemption also taking it out. Show has to flash. Acolyte's not having any of it. He wants to try and follow through, but there is no support, and they can't come through. A 2-for-1.
A little bit always. Ruiz is keeping this fight alive. Ruiz is
Andre's
keeping
joined
this
the
fight
party.
alive.
It's too deep. A 4-man tower dive, that's too risky, and you can see Game Lord immediately clump together. They gather up the forces and making sure that they can't get picked off one by one.
Yeah, and Zefta's actually aggressively pushing them back here. They are just trying to clear this wave out, though. Still, I'd say Game Lord in the lead, but not by much.
No.
Ruiz and Team Queso, they're keeping this game very much alive.
Yeah, everybody out, the death timers as well, back on the map. So it's a fight that could keep extending. Both of these teams, they want to brawl. There's no doubt about it. You know, we were talking about the objective-focused Queso that we had before. That seems to have slipped away a little bit here for me. And at the moment, they are kind of chasing the fights for Game Lord.
Still think the big difference for Game Lord is that they have random on this Darius, as well as he's very good anti-melee threat, so that makes Acolyte, Andre, and Memorized a lot more
Gold card goes in. Veos going to be the target. He has to go gold. Andre can get the knock up here. In comes Memorized. There's the wither. You're not getting out of that one, Veos. Completely caught out, and that was pretty much telegraphed from a long way out. He should have been backing away before then. They were maybe thinking about Baron, but I heard some obvious no-calls coming out from Team K, so they know it's risky. However, they lost a lot of priority mid, and they lost a lot of priority bot. This might be mid lane tier 1 that can drop in favor of Game Lord right now. Yeah, Memorize comes through, nothing you can do, and that is a tower, and I'll take a tower for death any day. Absolutely, especially mid lane tier 1, which really opens up the map right now for Game Lord. They can get a bit more vision down into that blue and red side jungle, and that leads to natural objective control, especially coming up towards the Baron and the third dragon of the game. That's an important tower, probably the most important tower that you can get in the game. It's the same for League of Legends PC, and that now opens up the map much more frequently and able to kind of move in and make aggressive plays around vision. There will be the Cloud coming up next, and Ruiz has been pretty hot in the gold card so far, so certainly been hitting them, but doesn't have that split push power that it would have had on Diana here, especially against the Norelia, which is looking like it's going to be most likely. Here comes Zephyr. They really want to focus on Ruiz, trying to lock him down. You can see Andre is just waiting in the distance, but quick flash comes through, tries to take the gold card. He's got to be careful. He tried to look for the re-engage. I don't think they realize. Look at the lack of wards right now. The coverage is not there. There's zero vision in the entire north side of the jungle. That's a worry. They're going in the mid lane. That's going to get him caught out. That's going to be memorized down. Ibu picked off. Destiny will come through, but it gives them all the vision, and that's the danger call. Now they realize it may be a Baron play. This is actually a little bit of a risky Baron again. I think you're still going into 4 members, but it's a quicker Baron because you have the Corki this time round, and you have the Java for that standard. Scal just trying to provide a bit of zoning away. The calls have got to be for Baron at this point. You've got to commit or you don't. Acolyte goes in. That's a big crocodile to try and lock them down. There it goes. The smite steal comes through for Queso. The stun card goes down, and they can turn it in their favor. They get themselves a double and back out of there. And Game Lord absolutely screw the pooch on the Baron again. Absolutely the wrong decision on Baron 2 games in a row now, and it is a massive issue for Game Lord because this creates a lot of natural pressure for Team Queso, especially around this third dragon. Game Lord need to get better with their neutral objective calls. That was not the right decision. You did not have a big enough man advantage. You either commit to the Baron or you peel off, and they did neither in that situation. I mean, they had a one-man advantage. They'd taken down the support player. It wasn't like they got a big pick. They hadn't got the smite fight in their favor. They hadn't removed any danger other than just taking a support Nasus off the map. In that situation, it is 99% better. Let's watch it back again. Committed, at this point, you're 30% HP Baron, just go for it. Like, just go for it before Andre can get in. You've got Scout running distraction. They should have just forced the Baron. If they were going to commit to it, they should have just forced the Baron. But at the end of the day, they played it a little bit sort of nervously, I would say. But we have another engage coming through. Straight in on the mid. This is against the Baron up team as well. Tricky engagement. They may well feel they can catch something. Redemption has to go gold. They do manage to get the dunk down. That is Acolyte and Andre picked up here. Zephyr's going to try and go looking for it. Random very low. Memorize tries to get around the side. Not going to get the pick up this time. And it will be a disengage. So that's a good fight for Game Lord against the Baron buff team. Absolutely. The Game Lord now. Redemption caught out by the gold card. The shout tells you all about it. That will be a turret going down, and that's the power of the Baron. You're gonna get that regen, you're gonna get those buffed up minions, and you're gonna get the damage down. You cannot afford to get caught out by a gold card so easily. Shouts are huge right now for Team Queso and Game Lord. They're going to be taking a long, hard look at themselves because that was another game that is thrown off the back of a terrible Baron call. And at the end of the day, in that situation, clear vision and set traps. When you have a one-man advantage, it's not enough to get the Baron. Clear vision, set traps, force the engage. I mean, I had said it not 30 seconds before the fight when they got the single one down. There's no vision up there because I was actually looking at Queso's lack of vision. But as you mentioned, Game Lord didn't have any vision either, and that's That is always, always punishing. But here we go. The Drake fight once again, and no Baron remaining. So it's back to even Stevens. You can see the gold very much close to one another, just 1,000 between the two.
One good team fight for Gamelord, and you know they can still bring themselves back in here. But the Team Queso, they're going to try to catch out Redemption.
Siphoning Strike used already, and it's Redemption. They go in and down he goes. They're caught out. They're locked down by the center as well. It's working well. As you mentioned, Ibu doing a fantastic job of that. Ruiz is going for the back door. The Peque play from Ruiz. Would you believe it's happening? The Spaniard, an homage to his team. Further future history may be being made here by Ruiz, but it's not going to happen. The rest of the team will come up, and they can just finish the job here. They're still chasing Random down. Meanwhile, around the blue buff, this is not a done deal yet. Random, he gets the dunk off. He just double dunked on Ibu and memorized.
It was a good attempt by Team Queso, but they didn't have enough minion wave to work with, and Gamelord again survived momentarily. They are 2 for 2 overall, so it's just a 3-man versus 3-man right now. No major advantage can be gained anywhere on the map as it stands. But with Zefta respawning and Redemption already back online, it could be a quick Baron force right now for Gamelord.
Okay, all right. Let's take a breather. Take a breather, because this is about to get hot and heavy. Let's see, we go. The Baron engage comes in. What's happening here?
They have to. This is their one play to try and win the game. They have to go for this.
Wild cards come through, gold card pulled. That goes onto Veos. That's the right target, but at the wrong time in that moment. Andre's going to get focused. He has got himself off. The Baron will get picked up by Gamelord, and that's a danger. Sho's going to get picked up. He's not going to quite go down, though. Random has fallen. That's a big card to fall, and that is a fantastic ulti coming out from Ibu, catching them all. Here comes the gold card from Ruiz. Run, hide, do what you can, Gamelord, because you're in all sorts of trouble, and that will be a 3 for 0. Baron or not, they can finish the game right now.
They can really just push for it right now. They've got huge death timers to work with. Zefta and Scout desperately trying to defend, but I think Team Queso are going 2-0 up in this series. Nothing you can do if you're Gamelord, and the Spanish Giants are going to go 2-0 up.
Zefta doing what he can. He might be able to delay them. Gets the flag and drag through. 1 down, 2 down. Doesn't matter. It will be Queso taking themselves a 2-0 once they get the minions through.
Once they get the minions through.
I tell you what, the spawns are coming. Random's up in 6.
They've got enough time. They've got enough time.
Here's the super minions. That's what they wanted. That's what they wanted. Whoa, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The Spanish shouts are true. And Queso take it 2-0 over Gamelord.
I love it. Ruiz is on it.
Look, Ruiz deserves to pop off there. Like, I genuinely thought he was going to end the game there with the backdoor on TF. I was getting primed for it. But turn around at the Dragon fight. What is going on here?
And Senna.
Ban Senna? Is that the assessment?
Been fantastic.
It's a problem. They can't effectively deal with the Senna.
The roots have been on point. The ult is he's hit like
is both in game and out of game, leading his team right now.
I gotta be honest, Gamelord were pretty quiet during that break.
Yeah, I know. I mean, look, and then you've got to mentally recollect yourself. How do you come from a 4-0 clean sweep day? How do you come from that to this, where you're 0-2 down in the series? This is only reverse sweep territory for Gamelord now. One slip up, one mess up in game, one game that doesn't quite go the way that you wanted.
Ooh, okay. First time in the Wild Rift Origin Series Championships history, Ziggs is not banned first out on the red side.
Yeah, the
He's
Ari,
been left open.
The Ari gets taken out. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to say it, because if you usually if you're going to
you called it.
Yeah,
you called it.
Well, you have to. I think you have to. The Lee Sin ban comes through here, so they're going to ban the Lee Sin away.
They're leaving the Ziggs open.
Are they going to leave the Ziggs open? Do they have a tool? They're going to ban the classics.
They're leaving the Ziggs open. This is the first time he's not banned. Do they go for it?
Ziggs V1, surely.
Either that,
I mean, they're trying to bait him with the Camille. I guess they're trying to bait Team Queso with the Camille, because that's previously been banned, and the bait is taken. They take the Camille.
Ruiz is dropping his headset, shouting, cheering. He's got everything going on right now. He is a man of confidence. The Ziggs being left open, but as you say, the Camille was also left open, and there is the Ziggs. And I feel they left that Camille to say, okay, we know you want this really desperately, and it gives us that Ziggs.
Yeah, they go for the Ziggs ban. This is very, very... Also, rather Ziggs pick. That's very uncharacteristic to see Ziggs left open on red side. It is a huge gamble for a lot of teams to go, we're not going to ban Ziggs on red side, we're going to leave the option open for you. But I think they banned the Kha'Zix and left the Camille open. This is one of Memorized's best champions, though. This is going to be the Rakan locked in. Xayah Rakan is old school Team Queso.
Yeah.
If they lock in the Xayah, That would be a very old school combination for Team Queso that worked for them previously. And they have the Camille Galio combo. This is killer. Camille Galio combo is very difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
Hextech ultimatum into Hero's entrance. Someone ain't escaping that.
And not to mention Camille can cover some serious ground. If he's going to be jungle Camille, we'll see. Could be top lane, because we'll see whether it's Acolyte or Andre that's going to be playing it. Would assume so. The Braum coming through for Game Lord, though. And we were talking about, obviously, the team fight potential. Both these teams have shown some fantastic team fighting. Game Lord have led both matches so far, and they have a lot of damage coming through in this team so far.
You're going to see the Ezreal and its mid lane Ziggs. Sometimes you see bot lane Ziggs. That has been sometimes where you've seen teams flex that over. I'm going to see the Galio, the Corki comes through here. So a lot of range damage. That's going to be bot lane Corki, we assume. Usually it's Xayah Rakan that we see locked in, unless this is going to be Renekton coming through as well. So that will be Renekton. A lot of single target lockdown. If you're looking for a way to threaten a Ziggs in a team fight, you have the Galio-Camille combo, followed up with the Rakan. Ziggs is going to play this very carefully. But this is an old school pickup here for Zefter. He's going to go for the Olaf. So tries to shred the front line, doesn't worry too much about the knockups and the stuns. Lots of CC heavy comp coming out from Team Queso, and Olaf is very good at dealing with CC heavy comps.
Going to try and run through that back line and get onto the Corki. Interested that they did go for the Corki instead of the Xayah, though. We'll see how it works out, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get in the game.
The Game Lord need to do something about their game right now. They need to step up. Random playing top lane Wukong, Baron lane Wukong, should I say. Still with League of Legends PC blood running through my veins. But it's the Baron lane Wukong. This is something that Riot have been trying to push in their balance changes over the last couple of patches. They've been basically empowering his self-healing from his first ability on minions in lane. Now, it is something you can play. A lot of people opt into tank Wukong builds. So I'm interested to see Random pilot this. I don't think we've seen much of this in competitive right now.
No, absolutely.
They're falling for it again, D-Man.
Trying to get that level 2, yeah. And it's going to put Random behind. But, I mean, Random went behind, but he still came out on top. Despite the fact he went behind. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a level 2 early for Acolyte, and we'll see whether that gets gold staffed or not. We'll see how it plays out through. Now, Veos is going to be a bit of a bully here, but he's got to be careful, because as you pointed out, Ruiz certainly can wave clear, and he can be punishing as Veos is being found out here. This can be very, very dangerous, because you're so squishy early on as a Ziggs.
Yeah, Veos making a huge mistake in this early laning phase, and now Andre, he's looking for blood. He can go over the wall here, maybe flash in as well. But going to be an immediate pickup of the honey fruit just to keep Vejos a little bit safer. But memorized on the side too. There is a barrier and there is a flash available. Memorized, and I mean, they go for it.
Gets the entrance in there, doesn't get the knock-up that he was looking for, and he has to get out. Yeah, tank too much damage. The Winds of War can still do a lot, though, but Vejos will be happy about that.
Yeah, 2 flashes for 1. They do burn his barrier. Ignite down for Ruiz, though. They were trying to set an early precedent in this laning phase. But alas, Vejos gets away with it, burning a couple of good summoners away. You can see, Random now.
I mean, we know how powerful Queso's combo is here with the Grand Entrance, with the Hero's Entrance, and of course with Camille going in, as you say, with the Hextech. Hello, bit of a dive. This has tried to work out last time. Didn't counter this time, though. Zefter caught out Red well.
Yeah, you see Ruiz rotate down to prevent a potential dive happening for Redemption and Shgal on the bot side of the map here, especially because they left Ebo alone while Memorized roamed up towards the mid lane. Does look like Zefter's trying to clear away as much of these minions as possible. Ruiz being zoned away from his own lane, by the way, at this point. Ruiz still level 3, so forced to take a very long way back into lane. He's actually lost out on a lot of experience here, and he's starting to fall behind Vejos, as well as the fact that this is a huge wave pushing in Vejos' favor. Ruiz
it's a big one because it's going to be the 5, so the ulti comes in already for Veil, so he could decide to try and force the issue here. Catches the satchel charge as well.
As a Ziggs, a bit difficult to do that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, as all in as you can get.
He's not going to go too hard on it, though. It does kind of what you're really interested in doing is just limiting Ruiz's map power to influence the side lanes. And by just zoning him away, you've given yourselves maybe an extra 30 seconds to work with to set the waves properly so that Ruiz can't come in and make a mess of your side lane with that ultimate.
You can see the goal balance back and forward between, obviously, top lane advantage. There's going to be the Grand Entrance. Now, Memorize has to get out of that one. Ibu didn't really have too much follow-on. The Phosphorus bomb didn't come down, so didn't have too much to come through on that one. He will just back away. Both will back and buy, because you know what it's getting close to. Dragon and Rift Herald time. 3:15, 45 seconds to go.
Again, Game Lord just taking that slight edge in the early game. This has been kind of the story of this series. Game Lord do get the edge in the early game. They manage to run with it into the mid game, and then they make a fumble, and Team Queso are there to pounce. Acolyte goes in looking for a little 1v1 trade versus Random. Very difficult to trade versus an empowered stun from the Renekton, so Random unable to do so. And you can already see there is a grouping up from Team Queso, just trying to set up for these next neutral objectives.
It's been the Rift Herald both times so far that they have focused on. Certainly Queso looking for that way. If you're wondering why, obviously they've chosen blue lane, blue side once again, by the way. It's their choice. And you can see they're trying to get the punish onto Random, forcing him to be non-issue. But Game Lord reading into this one, also checking over towards that Rift Herald. There is going to be a back from Random here. There's the Rift Herald being pulled out by Queso.
They're going to start it up. They have top lane priority. Random forced under his own tower for the time being. I'm wondering whether Game Lord just going to try and rotate down for the Dragon. Zefta.
They've been caught napping. I think they've been caught napping.
And surely they know they're going for Rift Herald. Like, they've committed so many resources to it, and now Game Lord is slow to the Dragon.
I think they're too late. Yeah, I think they're really slow to this, and Queso could challenge them here. If they don't read it quick enough, they see Zefta going down. He's kind of telegraphed it, and I've got to be honest, I'm interested to see where they challenge for this one. I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to allow them to take it. They're not too worried about the Ocean Drake.
Yeah, Zefta gets back there in time, and again, it's just a trade for trade, trying to go for the cheeky little steal with the Winds of War, but the smite is good from Zefta. And they'll be happy enough with the result here, Team Queso, to get the objective they want.
It's a very different game, though, from Queso this time. Obviously, the last two games, you kind of think of Rui as being this monster that has done so well, be it on the Diana or the Twisted Fate. But this time, I mean, it's going to be a very different style of play coming in with the Galio. It's going to be, yes, they're going to get that big Hero's Entrance drop, but he's not going to be that big punishing mid laner that you're expecting. He's actually going to be in trouble here because Zefta tries to get in front of him, forces him to get away from that one, pops the Ragnarok and gets the slam down and survives. Incredible first blood.
And they're going to pick up the first tower of the game here as well. Redemption already there with the wave. They're going to drop that Rift Herald mid. No, Random might be forced to use his ultimate just to clear this out.
It's going to come through. There's the Cyclone going down. Random will get it. There's the Hero's Entrance. Oh, sorry, the challenge coming through. The stun comes through. Doesn't quite work out. And in the end, it's a 1-for-1.
Vejos with the fadeaway bomb picks up the kill there. And you can see that Team Queso were desperate to get a trade for that bot lane tier 1. Again, Game Lord coming out strong. They've got to start their comeback at this point. You know, this is a reverse sweep on the cards if they have to get their way through to the final. And Team Queso have all of the advantages here. Game Lord, though, very defensive Galio ultimate coming out from Ruiz there. He was scared of the dive potential from Game Lord, and that's a big ultimate that's burned.
I guess they felt they were going to lose the mid turret. It was kind of worth to burn that ulti. He's not going to have it available for a while now, but they did lose that bottom tower, so at the moment, 1-for-1 in terms of tower, because the top tower did fall. Queso managed to take that one down while we were watching the kill on the bottom side. Here, let's have a look at this again. This is in the mid.
Oh, that was a really nice.
That's a true shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, true shot barrage coming out from Redemption across the map. Andre, they were just desperate to put this this Herald mid. Great Hextech ultimatum from Andre, but watch the fadeaway bomb here. Memraze just gets picked up by an empowered basic attack from Vejos. And it is a 1-for-1 trade, and they nullify the Rift Herald, which is really important here.
Yeah. Obviously takes away the small advantage they had, and it is a small advantage, just 700 gold between the two teams. And it is Game Lord holding that one. Zefta's just strolling down the mid, kind of telegraphing a bit of a move here as they all continue to walk down here. They're stacking out, maybe expecting a bit of presence on the bottom side. Rakani's kind of sneaking around there. Acolyte's going very aggressive on Random, forcing him to back away, and I feel Zefta's been caught out in the river. Zefta's in all sorts of trouble. He's going down and gone, but they can turn it around here. You can see Game Lord trying to push this one. A breakball, not enough to stop the damage. Show does manage to stop anything coming through, and in the end, it was a 2-for-1.
Maybe trying to threaten this mid lane tier 1. They have that Zig satchel charge to work with. This should be a tier 1 picked up in the mid.
Yeah, tower to go with it. I mean, 2 kills and a tower when it was Queso that engaged and got the kill. That has backfired badly.
I was just about to praise Queso because something that they're doing really well here. Let's take a look back at that fight beforehand, though. Yeah, it is Zefta caught out. He goes 1-to-1 versus Andre. They knew he was there, so the Hextech ultimatum comes through to deny as much damage as possible.
Great Glacial Fish.
He gets caught out just at the edge of the Ziggs ulti, and the rest of the team are there to back him up. But something I was about to praise Queso for, and it's something that they've done all series long. They have played really well around strong side vision. They've put a lot of vision into that blue side jungle. They committed 4 members of their team to that blue side and played around the vision knowledge that they had. It's something that Queso have done really well throughout this series, and something that I think that Game Lord haven't done as well. Game Lord have not played around the vision that they've got.
It's what's cost them 2 Barons.
It's what's cost them 2 Barons. And I think Game Lord haven't played around the vision as well as some of the others. Andre, a little bit overextended here. We'll be able to get away with that hook shot. We have a Infernal Dragon spawning momentarily. Random's ultimate not yet up, but will be by the time this Infernal Drake spawns.
So for Queso, they've come down, they've got the ward coverage that they were looking for to try and get the coverage they were after for this Infernal. Game Lord a little out of position, but here comes Veos. Veos has just been back to buy. Don't know what he's picked up. True Shot catches 3 of them, starts the Dragon off. In they go. Hero's entrance going to come down. That's a great knock-up coming through. It's going to be Andre that's going to try and get away from this one, and the damage at the moment is coming out from Game Lord. You can see Zephyr's very low, though. They try and turn it back around. They don't really have the damage to answer it. Random sticking off the side. He's looking to try and sneak in and get one of those big slams down, but this is going to be a disengage, a 1-for-1.
Don't think they can really do enough versus the range of the Ziggs and the Ezreal at this point.
They're chasing.
However, with the jungle is down, no one can go for this Dragon. It's too much of a 50-50 at this point, so not willing to commit to the Infernal. Really, really excellent fight. Great knock-up, great chain of CC coming out from Team Queso there, but Game Lord were able to peel back towards their own tower and play from range once more.
And another great True Shot from Redemption to start things off as well, catching multiple members. So you can see in terms of gold, the advantages, disadvantages. Big advantage for Veos this time around. Ruiz obviously was the man that's carried and caused them these big upsets in the last 2 games. He's not going to be the man they can rely on. So looking towards Acolyte maybe, who's obviously got that 1,000 gold lead right now, to try and help out in these big team fights. That big Renekton can be deceivingly damaging.
There's some big ultimates now here for Andre and Acolyte. They've got theirs available. Random now has his 2. So the teamfight ultimates are all there for Game Lord.
They want to delay it for Rui's ulti, don't they? They want to try and just delay as long as they can. Oh, that's a good bomb catching onto Ibu there, actually. So Veos causing the problem. The chip damage, the True Shot takes Ibu down half, and in they go. And Andre just has to get out of there instantly. Doesn't have the damage, and this is Game Lord looking huge this time around. Acolyte tries to run, but this could be an ace if he's not careful. Andre will fall, and Ibu, the last man standing. That was a convincing turnaround this time, a 4-for-1.
Much better from Game Lord this time around. You can hear it in their voices after the team fight too. This is a Baron call that is safe, D-Man. This is a safe Baron call.
That's if Zephyr doesn't die.
Zephyr might early here. They are trying to go for the Infernal Dragon with the Corki soloing it out right now. Evo is trying to at least claim something back here, and actually Game Lord don't have the vision to recognize this.
Yeah, I'm not sure he can do it, you know. I don't think he can do it. He's okay, Andre's coming. There we go. Now he's safe. Now he's safe. So they have managed to get at least the Infernal Drake from that one. He's going to try and push the tower as well. They're trying to maximize the deficit here. And it's the right choice because they know they're up against the Baron up team here, but he's got to be careful. Ibu could get caught out by Random. Random will join the party and the tower's safe.
Baron will be the big play here for Game Lord. What can they do with this? They have a Ziggs. Great siege in that champion. They need to make use of this Baron power play. They want to ensure that they're getting value out of this buff because they did just lose the Infernal. Baron goes away, Infernal does not. So Game Lord do have a bit of a challenge on their hands to make sure they're getting maximum value out of this Baron buff. Yeah,
they want to push all 3 lanes if possible. They have just Baron up the top lane. It's the mid where the pressure's going to be, and then they've also Baron up the bottom lane. Ibu's going to have to try and protect that one at the moment. You can see Acolyte on the top, but it will be the first tier 2 turret going down.
It should be a relatively easy siege onto the tier 2 towers in both the bot and mid. It's about whether they can actually get a permanent addition to their structures in the form of one of those inhibitor towers. That will be the challenge right now for Game Lord. However, Andre committing to the mid lane to try and push things in. Maybe Game Lord with the next wave here can maybe look to threaten this inhibitor tower.
Those True Shots are doing so much damage. And I'll tell you what, he's catching Ibu every time. Which is a big punishing. Man, take down that Dragon laner. Certainly put him on half health before the fight even begins. It can certainly put a doubt in his mind.
You can hear the guys back. They're even just bantering between themselves.
Yeah, and I'm seeing smiles back on the face of Game Lord.
Game Lord look a bit more confident right now.
If I was the coach, I'd be saying, look, guys, we've led both of these games, and we've thrown it away. This time, they left no doubt. They went in after a 4v1 to get that Baron. You know, one man's not going to make a difference. Well, I mean, randomly one in 100 chances maybe, but here we go, trying to get a chase down mid. Not going to catch anyone out. Andre can just dash out of that one, no problem, as he goes over the wall.
We're going to have that top lane tier 1 finally drop here for Game Lord. That is something that has been plaguing a bit of their map presence on the top side of the map for some time, and that should drop now. We'll make a healthy 9k gold lead or 8k gold lead in their favor. So I've made use of that Baron buff. They're going to keep pushing, though. They haven't got the Baron buff anymore, but they do have that wave to work with. Maybe pick up a tier 2 on this top side. You can see that what we're seeing from Team Queso is they're trying to mitigate other lanes as best they can. You can see that Acolyte is actually pushing heavily here, but you have to be very careful versus the Ziggs. Too easy for him to take towers very quickly.
Yeah, and this is actually the true shot again on Ruiz and Ibu. They do engage, but again, those carries are just so low on health. Random will come in, he's tanking the turret, and will the mirror will fall, but he gets away from that one. And Game Lord, they will back away. And I tell you what, Acolyte, ballsy to stick in that bot lane while that was all happening.
I mean, got great comms from Queso to say, no, they can't get it, don't worry about it, we'll just commit. And they're going to pick up another tower here. It's going to sort of nullify some of that gold lead. Mid lane tier 1 might actually drop as well. You can see that Andre, a couple hits with his first ability.
That's big.
The Precision Protocol picks it up. That is a great response from Team Queso in the face of what was a very rough situation.
To take 2 turrets from that situation was, it was ballsy, and it paid off. It absolutely paid off. Baron back on the map. 9-4 in favor of Game Lord this time around. A more traditional game, I think it's safe to say. 6,000 gold lead for them. But in terms of teamfight presence, it can still be risky.
Wards. They have 0 wards on the map.
Neither team.
No, this is just Game Lord. This is just Game Lord's point of view right now. You can already see that there's strong ward coverage.
They've only just come back to base to start sweeping, so I'll let them off.
I'll let them off. They need to start getting their own vision down. There was definitely a threat of Team Queso trying to sneak a Baron in that situation, but they don't feel strong enough at this point in time. One thing that Queso does really well, by the way, very good at managing their waves. They're making it so that it is very difficult when Game Lord gets some kind of win to go for at least an easy objective because they have a built-up wave in their favor. Queso are very good at managing their side lane waves. So Acolyte overextends just a little bit.
Jeez, the damage he takes. Down the half health he goes. The Mountain Drake spawns, by the way, while that's all been happening as well. Game Lord, though, they've got to be so careful. With the power of Ziggs and Ezreal, they can put somebody, even Acolyte, onto half health in a matter of seconds.
You can see there, the ward, that ward is like the most ultimate ward right now for Team Queso.
It's a chance for them. Oh, Ruiz, you can't go too deep like that. He's going to get caught out. There's the big Mega Inferno bomb coming through. True Shot Barrage passes over. Andre comes in. They might be able to pick themselves up a kill here. Random's very low on the back line, but there's just nothing to follow in. The hero's entrance comes far too late. Zefta will back away from that one. Memorize is going to get caught out. It's a 3-for-0. And I've got to be honest, Game Lord, they may be able to push and finish here.
They've got Ebu to work with. Ebu is actually chunking people out with late game Corki, but it's at least going to be an inhibitor tower, you feel, for Game Lord. Don't know if they're going to be straight up end the game.
It's a 4. They got all 4 down. I mean, there's 25-second death timers. I think Baron probably the right choice.
Call. I think Baron is the sensible call if they can go for it, but they have low HP bars. You have to be very careful, and you can see that Ebu right now is just sitting on the sidelines. I don't know if Queso can go straight for this Baron. I think
they've left it too late.
I think they've left it too late here. They've chosen the inhibitor over the Baron at the end of the day, and that's perfectly fine.
Yep. I'm agreeing, and you know what? It's the right call. After the last 2 games they've had,
I think you play it safe, right?
They've got to play it safe. Yeah, they know that they've got a big advantage. They've come out 3-4 kills ahead in the last 2-3 fights.
We'll take a look back here again as well. It is just the fact that Ruiz and Team Queso have very limited vision of where Game Lord are, and again, split up team fight. Wukong super good into melee comps, and Braum especially doing absolute work for Game Lord right now. Individually picking off the immediate targets, stunning them up, and allowing both Vejos and Redemption to back out of the team fight and keep their range.
That's the first time we've seen some hesitation from Queso.
Yeah.
Like you said, that Cyclone was perfect. The hero's entrance wasn't there because Ruiz was the one that got engaged upon. He came late. It was like he obviously didn't want to fight right now. So the first time we're seeing a bit of hesitation in the team fight prowess.
It's also the first time that I'm seeing Game Lord play sensibly around vision. In their first 2 games, I really don't think they gave enough respect to how strong Queso's vision control has been this game.
Do you think they're listening to us?
Look, mate, as much as I like to think I know a thing or two about Wild Rift, I can tell you what, I'm not as knowledgeable as these guys.
I've said this many times across many esports. If a team is relying on the commentators to tell them what to do, they got a problem.
Exactly. As much as I like to think that I know a bit about Wild Rift, these coaches know far more than I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, any observation I'm making, you can guarantee that the coaches are either making the observation similar or a better
again, Ibu caught with the true shot barrage. The Mega Inferno Bomb comes in, they engage, but it doesn't matter. The carries are out of there. Ruiz will go through and goes gold, but there's nothing to show for it. The Rakan will fall of memorized. And again, I've got to be honest, that Inferno turret is certainly going to fall.
Inferno turret!
Inferno turret!
Andre was trying to do his best. I think Andre made the right call here. He was trying to threaten an inhibitor tower in the mid lane. I actually think Game Lord have got to be a little careful. Andre's committing to this. I don't know if you can straight up go for Baron without being at least in the north.
They've still got 4 up. This is so risky again. They got a lot of damage coming down. Acolyte already sees it coming through. You can see Andre off the side. Then they go for the peel this time around, and it's the right choice. The Mega Inferno Bomb will find its target. Acolyte will fall. True shot for Argent. Andre still goes, and they have managed to keep the Baron in tow, and they will collect it. And now it is surely Game Lord's match to have.
Andre just about trying to escape here. Will get away from it. I really like what Team Queso were doing in these situations, but Game Lord are just too far ahead. You saw Andre pushing down mid. He was like, I'm going to threaten the inhibitor tower. I'm going to make it difficult for them to choose Baron. Maybe go for a little hook shot steal over the wall. But at the end of the day, Game Lord are just too far ahead in this game, and they have these ridiculous late game carries, these hyper carries in the form of Ziggs and Ezreal, and too much time given over to them at this point. Game Lord would have to do something monumental to throw this game. And they already have 2 inhibitors that are creating natural priority in both the Baron lane and the mid lane here. With the Elder Dragon spawning relatively soon, they don't really even need to go for it. They can just look for that 3rd inhibitor and try and secure themselves the game.
And it was all really from the pick and ban. Yeah. I mean, it was Game Lord that took the risk. They left. They banned Senna, but they left the Ziggs open. They gambled on it, and it worked. They reckoned the Camille would go through. Here's the engage coming through. There's just no damage to follow on. It is a Baron up Game Lord that will just run through the back line, straight through the inhibitor turret. The Nexus will fall. We have a series on our hands. Game Lord take game 3.
That is what we were expecting. Changes in draft, a little risky draft, as D-Man correctly pointed out. They left that Ziggs open and said, hey, you've got your Camille, boys. Take it, take it. And then they took the Ziggs themselves, and it was huge. That range that they were able to give themselves, the disengage of the randoms Baron lane Wukong created so much
time around every time we come into it. But anyway, that's how it is. Let's get the pick and bans on your screens. They are right there. And we'll see if the shenanigans continues, because the mind games are kicking in. That's the beauty of these best of 5 series. That's when the pick and bans really come into their own, where the coach is doing the work out the background, figuring the analysts out. It worked so well.
Yeah, and I think
it works so well for Game
Lord. What you've got to be very, very careful of this game is like that Ziggs play again. I think if you're going to go down that Ziggs play again, I don't know if, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. Sorry, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I don't think Team Queso. Sorry,
there's a saying in there.
I always get that one wrong. I really don't know if Team Queso are going to go full for that bait again. I do think that the Senna is an important ban, and now that the fact that we have the Kha'Zix banned away, it does mean that we're either going to see a Senna or a Ziggs. Maybe Game Lord do go for that Ziggs play again. Now, if Game Lord do, they have to essentially if they ban the Ziggs, they have to essentially give up the Senna. If they ban the Senna, they have to be prepared to deal with the Ziggs as the first pick from Team Queso.
Well, the Lee Sin coming through, which means, obviously, as you mentioned, Camille, Senna, Ziggs, which are they going to go for? What will be that final ban for Game Lord? What will they leave open for Queso? I got to be honest, I don't think the Camille was that much of a problem.
They're going to trade it.
I think they would let that through.
They're banning the ball and saying, okay, well, you take Senna, we take Ziggs. You take Ziggs, we take Senna.
Yeah, or the Camille.
Or the Camille. Absolutely, all 3
Or the Camille. We could take everything. Could take it all. So the Braum ban, interesting. So that tells me they're going for a comp where the big unbreakable shield could be a problem. Or maybe the Glacial Fissure, maybe they're going to clump up. I
actually think Ziggs is a really good answer to Senna, though, because you have the range to battle her, and you have a lot of burst damage to deal with on the back line. So I think if they do go for a Senna first pick for Team Queso, it obviously worked so well for them over the first 2 games. Game Lord do have the backup of a Camille to threaten them, and also a Ziggs to combo with it as well.
Well, this is where the coaches certainly make their money, that's for sure. This is the obviously still match point for Queso, as it was in the previous game. after picking up the first 2 wins, but there is a reverse sweep opportunity here for Game Lord. But let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet.
I'm not going to get him.
I want to look at it.
I think they're going to go for the Ziggs here.
What's in the book?
They're going for the Ziggs. So that's Team Queso first picking Ziggs. Now Game Lord have to feel confident that they can actually pilot the Senna. Because if you give over Senna as well to Team Queso, that might be a bit of a draft issue, I think.
I'm seeing a bit of a shake of the head there as well from Game Lord. I'm not too sure. I think they were expecting to fall for the bait, but they are going to take Camille Senna. Anyway, now the question is, did they expect something else, and are they now having to quickly change their draft?
I think so. I think they expected a Senna first pick.
Yeah.
I think they genuinely expected a Senna first pick, and Game Lord unfortunately read the draft maybe incorrectly here. Acolyte will lock in his Renekton once more. Now, Game Lord, their ideal scenario here is to pick up the Galio, have a fasting Senna Galio lane, and have the Camille Galio combo. That's not going to happen, though. Team Queso will lock in this Galio.
I mean, the Oriana's still out there, so there's obviously the Oriana and Nasus. We've seen a bunch of options to go with that Senna alongside, but the question is what works for what they'd originally planned with that pick and ban strategy, because they've had those few changes to come through. So Game Lord, over to you, as it were. Does mean, of course, you know, honestly, the impactfulness we saw in the last game of the Ezreal, for example, is not going to be there. The Wukong will be the choice for random, it seems. So they want that Wukong Renekton lane. It did work well.
Oh, this is classic Game Lord. This is classic Game Lord. This is going to be fasting Seraphine bot, I think, for redemption here, with obviously the Senna supporting. This is something that you dial back 4 months on the calendar. This was the Game Lord one-trick Seraphine, and everybody banned Seraphine against them because that was the way that they had kind of got their wins.
So the Corki and the Vi coming through for Queso. So pretty much the same for Queso. You know what it's got almost combining, mishmashing what they've done for the last few games. You can see what it's going to be. It's all about obviously getting that big end hero's entrance in. There's a lot of damage to pile on top of that Vi.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned for Game Lord here because you have great follow-up for the Vi here. Mega Inferno bomb onto the target, followed by the Galio, his hero entrance. I'm a little concerned.
Oriana mid? Seraphim?
I think it's Oriana. I think it's Oriana mid. Obviously, we have these Senna Oriana bot a lot, but I think that Seraphine is more classically put into the bot lane, just because she can be a little bit vulnerable. However, versus a Ziggs, you're not going to be as vulnerable, so there might be a Seraphine mid in this situation.
Well, let's get, ladies and gentlemen, game number 4 in the books. 2-1 to Queso right now. Here we go. Let's check out how this one will play out. Game Lord have led all 3 games from the lane phase. It transitioned into some team fighting nightmares around the Baron pit, and Queso picked up the first 2 games. But now Game Lord, after picking that one back, do seem a little reinvigorated. But this is a very good pick for me for Queso.
Yeah, I think Queso have got a really nice composition. Great single target lockdown. Great follow-up on that Vi as well. A lot of initial damage going down onto Redemption too from Memorized there. But it is going to be Scout farming on the bot lane with Redemption and just supporting him in that sense. So it is, again, as we said, fasting Senna plus Seraphine bot. And that Seraphine will be the key pick. I think, you know, that's the reason we're seeing it here. Seraphine in this particular circumstance is a relatively sensible pick into heavy dive. If you can play a little bit further back as the Seraphine, then you're going to be able to essentially set up great situations for both Vehos and Redemption to shine. But I think we have to keep our eyes because they have it's a very squishy comp, you know? Like that is the problem. It's an extremely squishy comp here for Game Lord. And you make one wrong move versus a Galio and a Vi, you're going to be in a bit of a rough spot.
So we'll see this one plays out with Random, of course, being the top laner. Obviously, the right-hand side is not quite right because Zefta is the jungle with the Wukong, and Random being on the Camille at the top here this time around like it was on the Wukong previously. So we'll see how that one translates. Zefta just having a little look around that mid lane, but a bit of lane tax in, and you can see Andre doing the exact same. So both with the pretty much same idea. There was a ward coverage for Queso to pretty much follow the exact pathing that Zefta was doing, so they kind of knew he was coming.
They're trying to create some priority for the scuttles. This is what Andre has done every single game. He'll path mid, creates a natural priority mid that allows him to go for a scuttle relatively risk-free. Looks like they're going to trade top scuttle for bot scuttle here, but Vehos is going to hang around.
Yeah, going to try and cause problems. You can see Rue is actually pretty low. There's the damage. Here comes Redemption. They might go for it, you know. Might go and peek in there. There's the first fight being caused. You can see they're going to lock onto Show. Show in all sorts of trouble. He's going to get picked off. He's going to be the focus target. Ibu will catch him. First blood comes in. Redemption has to flash away as well. And that did not work for Game Lord.
Can hear Ruiz just going for it. Andre does get caught out here, forced to flash away.
And they're going straight back in for this one, but the rest of the team are there. Ruiz has no mana to throw any more bombs. Andre will be able to walk away from this one. The shield comes through, and it's bait. They're turning it back around. Zefta goes down. Andre picked off. Is he going to be low? No. Random will get away with it. He comes in, and in the end, it was a 1-for-1. But I gotta be honest, I still feel Queso came out on top.
They absolutely did, because look at how much free lane Acolyte's getting now, and how much Random lost to make that play across the map. Team Queso absolutely come out on top there. I understand what Game Lord did, but you don't want to fight as a Seraphine and a center lane in the early game. Too much CC to play up against. Unfortunately, the follow-up from Game Lord wasn't there. Vehos had no mana to work with as well. And that was a very risky attempt to shut down a single Rift Scuttler.
We're going straight into it. This was the replay earlier on as well. And I just don't...
There's too much CC for you to try and deal with in the early game. I'm not really sure on the thinking there for
I mean, okay, so the first fight was about objectives. You know, looking to try and get, obviously, the Scuttle Crab down, gives you that vision, then River. The second fight, nothing to be gained other than pure fighting.
It was purely to try and claim something back from a very awkward situation.
Chest bumping is what it was right there. A bit of manly prowess backfiring. 23 seconds on the clock to see whether, of course, the Rift Herald and the Dragon will be spawning. And it has been the focus of Rift Herald for Queso in all 3 games so far. We'll see if that remains the same, because we do have 3 members down the bottom. Here we go, backing away.
Fight on the top side of the map, though.
Oh, their fight. Yeah, they're going to get on towards our Acolyte. Acolyte's in all sorts of trouble. Acolyte looks like he may well go down, and he will fall as the Dragon spawns.
Yep, Dragon is up. That is Infernal that's going to get started up by Memorized here, but they have lost a major player in these early objective fights. Looks like they're going to trade Rift Herald for Infernal, though. With Scout and the Redemption trying to stall them. I can hear calls for stalling. I can hear saying just try and buy enough time, but I don't think you're going to have enough time here. I think actually you're playing a risky game versus a Vi.
Yeah.
I think they're trading Infernal for Rift Herald. So that is an Infernal Drake for Team Queso. I'd actually call that a relatively big win for them.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, to quickly transition off it, obviously they lost Acolyte. There's a lot of damage gone down on this top turret as well. The Redemption has managed to put down. So Acolyte returns the lane, but you know what? I'll take the Dragon as well. I think they're okay with that.
Yeah, this is okay for both teams right now. Very small goal difference separating them in this early game. Queso definitely given a little bit of early confidence with those fights around the Rift Scuttler, but it is Game Lord that have managed to bully their way back into the lead here. Infernal is a huge pickup, though, especially with the Ziggs and the Corki. Lots of scaling magic damage on your team. I think that is something that we should keep our eyes on, though. Lots of scaling magic damage, but not necessarily lots of scaling AD here.
Yeah, a big part is the fact that obviously we're looking at the opposite lanes. They're not quite lined up exactly. The Random is the top laner, has completed that Triforce as opposed to the Black Cleaver, obviously, for Acolyte. But the main one I'm seeing is Zefta has completed that Black Cleaver. So if they do go into a fight at the moment, he is going to have a big advantage over Andre. Andre's still trying to build that item.
Yeah, and it's a great facilitator of both Redemption and Random as well, having that Black Cleaver in tow, because you're reducing armor across the board. You can see Andre.
That's why they want this fight.
They're trying to get the Galio into position to use the hero's entrance on any kind of engage. They've kind of left Ibu on an island at the bot side here. You can see that Redemption and Scout are just power farming their way in a 2v1. I would say that favors Game Lord overall at this stage in time.
Yeah, and they're trying to force it in and around. The Rift Herald will go down, so they wanted to force the mid-fight. They get on towards Memorizing, realizing that it is the Galio there. They lock him down very nicely. Completely misread the situation. Didn't expect all 5 members of Game Lord to turn up there. And the Rift Herald should be able to get the start down. Oh, the big shockwave comes in, pulls 3 members in. The Rift Herald will fall, so they can't quite dive in the tower, but there could easily be a lot more damage done to Queso.
Oh, that was so... I mean, Scout held his ultimate there. That feels weird to me. He held his ultimate for so long. It felt like it could have been an easy setup for them to get a triple kill, but they will eventually pick up this tower in mid, and Game Lord will be happy with the outcome here. First tower of the game. However, bot lane...
Top lane as well. I mean, yeah, Ibu's going to get the bot lane, but top lane is going to go down as well, because you can see Random is going to work on that tower. So 2 towers, top and bottom. Sorry, top and mid taken for Game Lord. Bottom turret falls for Queso, let's have a look at this one again.
I think it's a bit of an error for Memorize. He'd already used his taunt. I don't know if you noticed just before this fight, his taunt got cancelled. And so he had no way to actually set up this fight. Great shield from Redemption. They're already getting hurt by the poke from Ziggs. But as we said, that shockwave, 3-man, a little bit more AP behind Veos there, and that would have been disgusting. Again, Shao held onto his ultimate though. That for me felt a little awkward, but at the end of the day, they got what they got. It was the tier 1 in the mid. That's what they came for. They walk away with it.
So far, Random has generally been the gold leader throughout, and he is once again. I don't know where he manages to find it, but he does. He manages to squeeze it, eke it. It's going to be the bottom turret. They're going to trade a top for bottom turret here, it seems. It is going to be Acolyte that will just back away from this one. He's pretty much read the situation. They're going to trade. The question is, who can get the tier 2 first? Because you can see the race. It's Queso that's ahead right now.
They're trying to go for it. I mean, this could be an inhibitor tower if you don't play this correctly, and you can see they're already back.
I mean, a Corky Ziggs, that's a lot of damage. It can go down. Yeah, they have to back from this one. They have to realize the danger.
You're going to see Random already make his way down.
They got the turret. They got it. They got
exactly.
the tier 2.
You can actually see that Memorize is clearing waves behind the mid lane to make it difficult to push onto the tier 2. So that is actually a win in favor of Queso here. Gold leads are minimal right now for Game Lord. 10 seconds until the dragon spawns as well.
They are, I don't know who's making the calls on that team, but they are very, very good at object control. That's looking like a danger sign in mid. Yeah, the pings come down. They're walking straight into it. Acolyte will fall. He can pop as much as he can. The Dominus don't think it's going to be enough, but he hangs on. And now they turn it back around. What is happening here, ladies and gentlemen? Queso turning it on. They get themselves 1-2. They go, Acolyte will get out once again. Ibu trying to pull the damage down. He's got him with the package. That is deep, deep, deep from Ibu, but it pays off. He gets himself another down, but Random has turned up to the fight, and now danger signs for Queso. They've got to get out of there. He finds another. It's a 4 for 2 to Game Lord. My word.
What an absolutely nutty fight, D-Man. Like, people were taking swings left, right, and center. Absolutely insane. But Random, once again, he is the hero of this team. Questions have been raised about Random's status as the best Baron laner in the European scene. I think this series is definitely making a case for him. He is stepping up when his team needs it. They're even going to come away with the objective too. That is a huge win for Game Lord.
They're sweeping through. They're going to catch on towards Veos. Veos has to flash away. Actually, they didn't flash away, he just managed to dodge it. Instead, Game Lord are going back in again. What is happening? And Queso will just step away from that one. Realized in the dangerous situation, Game Lord are hunting.
I think there is warning signs for Game Lord, though. I don't know if you noticed in a few of these fights, but some stray Zig bombs. Yeah, stray Zig bombs.
Let's have a look. Here we go.
Corky. That was the catch. Very tanky Acolyte, with the support of Memorize, able to get him out. Now, they kind of went all in onto Zefta's clone, which unfortunately meant that Zefta was able to set up another fight here. Watch this. Great shockwave again from Vejos. He's been huge. But Ibu able to do a massive amount of damage. He has that package available as well. It was a great package from him. Just about Redemption gets away with it on the backside of the fight. But watch Random. He is the big threat to Ziggs in this fight. No one peeling back for him because they went very aggressive to try and capitalize on Ibu. And Random, with that gold lead, is really converting it right now for Game Lord. He has been a monster this game and has picked up the Blade of the Ruin King as well. Usually, if you're concerned about your safety as a Camille, you'll go Sterak's Gage or Guardian Angel. He's not concerned about his safety. He wants to kill people. He's gone Blade of the Ruin King here.
Redemption building stacks, you can see. Looking pretty dangerous so far.
42,
and has been doing serious work. That's what it's all about. That's the starve. Now, just stay away from that Baron for right now, if Game Lord, if you please.
I want to see 5 games, dude. I want, as much as I want my prediction to be right, I do want to see 5 games here as well. I think that'll be a great start to our semi-finals day.
Absolutely. Oh, can we roll out Silver Scrapes here? Did we get that?
I don't know. Did we get the permission?
I'm not too sure if we can pull that one away from League right now, but we'll try. As it is, I mean, it's only a 3,000 gold lead. It's not huge. It's not massive.
It's not big.
They've come back from 4K gold leads already, and they've got to be very careful they don't get caught out. Both teams, though, hunting for fights here.
Take a look at the item spikes. Vejos is sitting on his Rabadon's death cap, which is pretty huge. Working towards that right now for Ruiz, but it is Vejos who has hit that spike a little bit beforehand. However, a lot of defensive itemization has already been locked in here for Team Queso. 3 gargoyles in chance, 2 stasis in chance. They know this next fight is going to be big, and so therefore they've invested defensively to try and negate a lot of the burst damage coming through from both Vejos, Redemption, Shkal, you name it, it's there. Bit of a change, though. We're going to see Redemption picking up a Locket of the Iron Solari. Very sensible versus heavy AoE damage coming out from Ruiz and Ibu. So I like that pickup. Going to provide a small edge in some of the mid-game team fights right now for Gamelord.
Sweeps and baits, I feel, from Gamelord. They're trying to bait it, but I think Queso is just going to go for this mid-turret. And the question is, will they get caught from behind? Here comes Zef to watch out for their Cyclone. He's going to stealth himself in there. There's the Cyclone, but they dissipated really well. They try to turn this one back around. Zef's on the back line. There's going to be the grand challenge going through, and that will be 1-4. Andre goes down, but now where's the damage coming from Queso? It is evacuation time, and I don't think they're going to get away from this one, as Random puts more damage down. Acolyte will be picked off. Memorize will be the next focus target. Ibu caught out as well. Random is just running through the team, and it is Redemption that is collecting the kills on the way. It's a team ace for Gamelord.
When Random needs to step up, he does, and Redemption's there to give the support damage. Huge engage from Gamelord. Great call as well from them to go for that very risky engage when they're not exactly huge leaps and bars ahead. Zefta creates the distraction, allows Gamelord to focus down onto Andre, who gets isolated, locked up. His ultimate becomes useless due to that Hextech ultimatum, and that is an inhibitor tower drop now from Gamelord. Big conversion for them. We should be looking at a 2-2 in this series right now because Gamelord have got a massive advantage to work with.
2 tier 2 turrets and an inhibitor turret off the back of that fight.
Wait.
The Mountain Strike just spawns. They're pinging it, they're running for it, but they're going to run right over a ward.
It's the back timings they were trying to capitalize on here. They were trying to capitalize on the back timings of Gamelord because they overextended for that inhibitor tower, but you can hear the rest of Queso not keen to make this play when they're so far behind. Random gets taunted up, but there isn't really a follow-up.
They're going for it, though. Andre goes in. That's going to be the box coming through. Is it going to be enough to try and lock them down? Veil's taking a lot of damage, and Veil's in all sorts of trouble. It is a great shockwave coming through. In a moment, it is a 1-for-0. But I tell you what, warning sign still for Gamelord there. They almost got punished.
Random walks straight into a face check, but he's just so strong right now that it didn't matter. Gamelord able to get away with it. The center ultimate was big from Redemption, captured everybody, huge shielding coming out.
That proved to me that if Ruiz and Ibu can set up the damage, can get it down, you can actually see them drop. I mean, Veos was down to nothing, Redemption was down to nothing, and, you know, suddenly take them out, and there's a lot of damage
we're
off the
looking
table.
At some key item spikes coming through right now, Demon. We have the Solari Charge Blade with the Infinity Edge should be being built up right now as well for Ibu. Though that item spike will be pretty dangerous, especially since we're not really seeing much defensive itemization towards magic resist coming out from GLD. Gamelord are actually going for armor, when realistically the main sources of damage to worry about from Team Queso will be that magic damage coming out from Ruiz and the 80% magic damage coming out from Ibu. So just be a little cautious.
There's some very squishy targets.
Yeah.
I mean, Seraphim, squishy. Zeta, squishy. Oriana can be squishy, can get caught out. Could build up a bit of defense, but it is squishy at the moment, no doubt about it. So, you know, a pick here or there. Let's not read too much into that 10,000 gold differential, because as the game goes longer, which, yes, I know 15 minutes doesn't sound long for a League of Legends game, but in terms of Wild Rift, it's a pretty long game.
This is a decent length game. You're absolutely true. Absolutely true. That's not a phrase, Kim.
Death time is also pretty big as well, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what we've been talking about all series long. The ward coverage, the sweeping. This is being put to use, and the Baron's being started. The bait is being set.
They're going to get that ward down. They will see them doing the Baron for the time being. Andre not yet in position. Looks like Gamelord are committing to this.
Acolyte's not here. He's so far away. This is going to be a peel. Memorize taken down so low. They're going to go from that one. Ibu finally coming in. They are getting the peel round. Ibu's getting the damage down, but Andre comes in. Is it going to be enough? The Cyclone focuses on Ibu, and Ibu's going to turn this back around. Zefta comes in there, but the damage had been done on the front line, but in comes Acolyte. Ibu, if you can get the damage down, but he's just too late for the party. Gets one, gets two. Oh my word, he's turned it around. He's certainly stopped the Baron. Random's finally joins, and he will get the ace, but is it enough to finish the game? 30-second death timers, I don't think so.
Maybe mid lane is still open, though. Random is pushing his way forward, has a wave to work with. Double, he's actually going for it. They're going for the end here. This is going to be a bit risky, hopefully looking for a teleport coming up from Vejos. Vejos has sold his stasis, is going to teleport into this bot lane. They have got 10 seconds to work with. They might be able to get this.
Random's got the damage, there's no doubt about it. Vejos joins the party, and I think they can finish it right here, right now. 5-second death timer coming through, and it will be Gamelord taking game 4. We're going the distance, ladies and gentlemen. The reverse sweep is a possibility.
I'm loving this Trid. The players just absolutely incensed after every win.
They're doing the story for us right now. They're yelling everything I was going to say here.
This is history repeating itself. How many times have these guys faced each other and it's gone all the way to Game 5?
Absolutely.
Number 2 seed, number 3 seed coming out of Europe. You expect it to be close. I'm loving the return of Gamelord. There was a little bit of a gambit there for Team Queso at the end there with the Baron. They were already a little bit behind, but maybe missed timing going towards it and getting caught out in the
two teams. Still some smiles between the competitors. You love to see it. These guys play each other on the ladder all the time, scrim each other all the time. They're still good friends. And, you know, I think realistically coming into this, Gamelord as well have switched sides. For the first time ever, and now on blue side.
Yes.
Team Queso have opted to take red here.
So still going for the Ari ban.
Yeah, that's Gamelord going for the Ari ban. The Ziggs ban here from Team Queso. They don't want to let that one go over.
It's back for the Ziggs. 100% pick or ban for the Ziggs so far throughout this entire tournament.
This offers up an interesting discussion, though, D-Man.
Are they leaving the center
okay.
open?
No,
yeah.
Do you know what? They've just banned Camille, so the discussion is gone.
Well, that's your point, but my point was about the center. The Gragas does go as well, which Queso have been banning all the way through the series so far.
I'll give a bit of caveat for that. I think Random was the, I think might even still be the #1 Gragas on Europe. There is an internal rating system on Wild Rift, and I think Random may still be the #1 Gragas on the server. I'm not entirely sure, but the Senna gets banned here. So we are looking at basically an even draft at this point. No major power picks, glaringly obvious. And it'll be Lee Sin that has been banned previously against Zefta, getting locked in for game.
Yeah, banned by Queso all the way through 4 games so far. And the first time it's let through into there, and as you say, Zefta, who has had a pretty darn impactful performance so far, but the Galio being picked up by Queso, will that be matched with maybe a Rakan? No, It's going to go for the Darius.
That's very interesting. See the Darius locked in very early, especially when you're not looking into heavy melee. Galio Darius is a very good anti-melee duo. Galio is a great anti-melee duo. And I think, you know, Gamelord have yet to lock in a very, very heavy melee comp. We're going to see Random lock in the Fiora. This is a very difficult matchup for Darius, but it can work. We'll see the Orianna taken very early on for Gamelord as well. So they're going to give themselves some range to work with, but no real front line to speak of as of yet.
Yeah, this is a very aggressive comp coming out of Gamelord, no doubt about it. As you say, no big tanky front line, so maybe the Braum to come into
I think
as
the Braum would be a good
likely,
option. Yeah. I think you've hit the nail on the head there, D-Man. I think Braum would be great in this situation for Gamelord.
Are we going to see the Xayah Rakan? We did have the Corki Rakan last time. Here we go. So it's Queso bringing out the Xayah Rakan combo.
That's the old school Queso. Yeah. That is exactly what they ran through the first 2 Origin series. The Xayah Rakan going back to their roots, trying to make it work for them. I would not be surprised to see Ezreal Braum. I think Ezreal Braum would be the best answer here. The other one could be Janna, but Braum will be the lock-in. I think you correctly mentioned it is the sensible pickup in this scenario. Very good single target lockdown of those frontline threats. And Kha'Zix for Andre. Kha'Zix for Andre gets locked in here. Very comfortable draft for Team Queso.
I mean, it worked well. It worked well last time. I'm salivating at this pick. These picks are great. This focuses on fantastic team fights. Let's see how it plays out, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 5. Winner takes all. Gamelord bringing it back from 2-0 down, both on match point to reach the finals. Unicorns of Love and RixGG will be facing each other after this series to see who the other finalists will be. But my word, let's see. We already have some fun and games starting out here.
It's a lane swap for Team Queso, looking to catch Random out in the 1v1 here. Random's going to go a little bit more aggressively. You can see that Acolyte has... Okay, are they full on trying to catch Random out? They're baiting him out.
They're baiting it and saying, look, I'm doing my same route. I'm coming up here.
Wait, they've shown it. Random's just going to go over the wall here, surely.
It's going to get the knock up. The entrance comes through. Random should just be able to go away from this one. The water goes down, but the coverage is there, and he will just get a couple of shots off. Force him back, and they're going to go for the switch. So that's going to put Gamelord behind a little bit.
They're trying to swap back, and you can see, actually, the Gamelord are going to stay.
No, they counted. They realise, okay, they're trying to bait. Oh, one went back.
Oh, no.
It's only memorized. It was only memorized. So I think it'd be okay.
This is very interesting. They're giving up a lot of individual experience here over to Redemption and Scout. No one is absorbing bot lane waves for Team Queso.
Yeah, Acolyte's losing out.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah. And looks like they're going to try and punish that as well.
Random's still at 1, though. Reload's still level 1, hasn't yet to do anything. And you can see the punish trying to come out from Acolyte here. Just going to get the ward down. So Acolyte will get to lane. But he's got to be careful because there's 3 here. Zefta's in the jungle just above him.
I'm trying to zone him away here. Acolyte.
Random's got nothing here. It's still level 1.
Random also
hasn't been in lane.
In a bit of a rough spot. Acolyte's actually absorbed pressure from the mid lane right now and absorbed experience from the mid lane. Random, unfortunately, is constantly zoned away here. He's actually going to back off entirely. But it is actually Acolyte that came out on top because he shared that experience in mid.
If by 10 minutes I'm saying Random has the most gold in the game, I'm going to be pretty mad because you can see he is level 1 while everybody else is level 4. We're getting close to ultis already for Zefta, for Veos, for Redemption, and for Ruiz. But meanwhile, Random's just hit level 2.
They're going to commit a lot of resources to try and protect Random to get towards this tower. He has got the riposte available. Skau has moved his way up, and they'll notice that Andre is there. So Random should get this wave.
Yeah,
at least
get
he's going
level
to get
3,
something from it. So that's a pretty good response from Gamelord overall.
Yeah, so, whew, okay. We knew we'd be having fun in this series, didn't we? But my word, I didn't think we expected this much fun as we reach Game 5. If you've been watching throughout, then thank you very much. If you've just joined us, you have missed an absolute belter of a series. Get your buddies involved here. There is some prime League of Legends being played out.
Acolyte being zoned away a little bit by Redemption, but has been given a bit more freedom in his lane now. Random a little further behind than his counterpart, but is starting to absorb some experience. They've actually committed Skau to the top side of the map here to allow Random to start to absorb some golden experience in this matchup.
Cheeky little punch to the face from Shah just to make sure Memorize sticks around. And I mean, we've got to talk about the team comps, obviously. We were mentioning the Gamelord. Yes, they are very aggressive, and this is kind of trying to punish that aggression effectively to take one of those weapons out of their arsenal. Hasn't worked that successfully. Obviously, it worked well at the start, but Gamelord, he is going to be lacking on the gold. There's no doubt about it, but Random will be. Sorry, but has got the levels back now.
But I think you've given a lot of solo experience and solo gold over to Redemption here, and actually it's working out in okay for Gamelord. They're still in an okay spot. Memorized and Ibu are just pushing this wave in towards Random. He's going to be able to absorb these waves regardless. Skau was just preventing him from getting dived. I think this is okay. Gamelord, you know, you are essentially trying to clamp down on one of Gamelord's strongest players, and I think that's why this entire lane sort of came through in the first place. A, it's a terrible matchup for Darius. B, you want to put Random on the sort of the burner. But I think at the end of the day, Gamelord have managed pretty well with what was a very unique tactic coming up from Team Queso very early on here.
I do worry that they've kind of just ignored Zefta, who is on the Lee Sin, that's been banned throughout the entire series and has been happy to go about his business. Now, we know that Queso have been focusing on the Rift Herald. Andre comes up, here comes the Memorized and Ibu combo, and it will be a simple Rift Herald for a Dragon.
That's what we're going to see. Rift Herald for Dragon, and Gamelord will happily just make that trade.
Oh, they've caught someone out. That's going to be one, and that's going to be Random, actually, that was taking a bit of damage. Got caught out there by Ibu and Memorize, but of course, it's very hard to lock down a Fiora. Can just get out of there. There's the quick true shot barrage across, and the trade does indeed go through. The scuttle grab's being picked up, and this is going to be a tower for tower as well, I think. Yeah,
it'll be tower for tower. We're going to see a collapse on the bot side of the map here. We're going to see, I think, Vehos back, but it will be first tower of the game. No Rift Herald used here for Team Queso. Will give them a nice little edge, but the gold lead still favors Gamelord at this point in time.
We'll see whether they hold that Rift Herald for the next Dragon in a few moments' time. As you say, they didn't force it there. Random, though, fancied that fight, you know. He was having a little bit of a chase there. A little bit of tit-for-tat in the middle as well as Memorized and Ibu take a bit of damage. Who's coming out on top right now?
I think the real issue that I think Team Queso got to deal with this game is that if you let Gamelord have a relatively risk-free early game, you're looking at an Orianna, a Fiora, and an Ezreal who scale incredibly well. They can essentially manage range incredibly well as well versus, you know, what is essentially going to be a useless Darius.
So, right. So, can we talk about this? Random
talk to me.
Has more gold than Acolyte. 400 more gold. Now, okay, 150 from the Dragon. But, you know, considering he was level 1 when everyone was level 4.
Acolyte was put under the cosh as well.
He was a
you know,
bit, yeah.
He was
not as bad, though.
Only in terms of experience, I would say.
Yes.
Maybe not in terms of gold. In terms of experience, he definitely had a relatively solid early game. Vehos gets locked up there. Memorized did not want to pull the trigger because he had the support of both Random and Skau. The only problem I have for Team Queso is they do not scale in terms of raw damage output. And actually, when it comes to the way that you play team fights out, both Orianna and Ezreal are going to be able to maintain range really nicely with Xiao essentially providing that barrier between them.
They're setting this up.
He's on a ward though, right? Yeah, they know, right?
Yeah, I don't think he's on top of one. I know there's one in the river, but I don't think he's on top of one. I don't think the tribe.
Oh, you meant Zefta. Yeah, they're trying to bait it with they know that Andre's there.
Here they go. Zefta's just going to come down. I assume they know he's there. There we go. There's the kick, and that's going to force him out. And I think Andre was the actual focus of the target there, but they didn't bait him hard enough. Here comes the rest of Queso, though, coming down the river. There was also the back from Acolyte there, just making sure he had the cover, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. This is about as tense as I would expect for a Game 5, by the way.
I think also you've seen Ruiz just burn his ultimate. That's a pretty nice ultimate to take off the board here for Game Lord. Especially that you've got the Infernal Drake coming up relatively soon. Should be back on the cards by the time that objective comes into play, though. Very tense, though. Very tense Game 5. But I do, like I said, this is a game that has been relatively risk-free for Game Lord, and I do favor them in that situation because of how safe they are at range in these team fights. I'm going to keep hammering that point home. You've got an Orianna and you've got an Ezreal. This Ezreal now has the most gold in the game. You do not want to have an Ezreal that's got the most gold in the game working towards his Triforce and eventually into a third item, and that is when things are going to get scary. Seralda's Grudge on top of Manamune and Triforce, Ezreal becomes a real nuisance, and you don't really have a good threat, maybe outside of the combo between Andre and Memorized, to threaten an Ezreal, succinctly enough to kind of at least carry you through the remainder of the game.
Yeah, and his True Shot Barrage fight starters in the previous time he managed to get on the Ezreal Game 3 were phenomenal. He was catching Ibu every single time before the fight even began. Ibu was coming into it half health or less. Obviously, yes, he had the backup of the Ziggs that time around, but Zefta's sticking around the bottom here. They want to protect this turret. The rest of Game Lord are coming down. They're going to throw down the Rift Herald, using that True Shot Barrage just to clear the wave and prevent any further losses. It is going to be a trade, of course, with the Mountain Drake coming up. They want to try and counter it with that. But they're going to have to be quick to start it. Instead, they're going to go for the mid turret.
They're trying to get mid lane prio off the back of a bot lane shove there. It's a little risky, though. I think Game Lord are out of position. They may end up giving up this tier 1 tower in mid. There's Zefta's straight over the wall. Redemption is as well. They'll be able to clear this one out. Good amount of mid lane damage, though.
Oh, Ibu. The shockwave is pulled, but a swing and a miss.
You might wonder why Xiao put his shield the wrong way. It was to protect the feather recall coming out from Ibu there. He didn't want to get anyone locked up by it. So, might have looked weird, but it was the correct decision.
Top lane has joined the party. Don't forget the dragon is still there. The mountain being started off here by Andre and Ibu. And at the moment, Gabriel were back in. The Brahma's not there. Shoal's a long way from the party here. Random's got to try and join. I don't think they can find the True Shot Barrage. Nearly stole by Redemption.
Yeah, I think Team Queso played that incredibly well. Created natural bot lane prio with the Rift Herald, then immediately to mid to create some mid lane priority. Made it difficult for Game Lord to respond. What I would say, though, is that Game Lord They didn't overextend. They didn't make any silly decisions around what is a very, very tempting objective to contest. So I think Game Lord know how important it is not to make one wrong move in this particular game.
Oh, jungle invade. Here we go. That's what we want to see. Random go for an Acolyte and kind of proving a point to say, you know what? I am not scared of you. I've beaten you a number of times in lane, and I feel at this point he has the better of him.
Absolutely. 1v1 in favor of Random right now. They've also burnt another Ruiz ultimate that hasn't been impactful here. And another little area of the game that they can potentially work into their favor. Game Lord need to capitalize on that. Redemption's being given a lot of gold in the jungle as well, so they're trying to essentially accelerate this Ezreal. That's the important part. Vejos and Redemption are going to be the two carries of this game if they can get it working. And Random on the side lane is starting to become a nuisance for Acolyte. Happy to go in the 1v1, happy to take him on.
Game Lord are looking for a fight right now. They want kills. It's 0-0, 10 minutes in. This is kind of unheard of right now in Wild Rift, I've got to be honest. They're looking for the kills, and they may well find it. Memorize goes in. Not too sure about that one, but will get out alive.
Just about. Escapes with a sliver of HP, but Team Queso come out on top, getting the bot lane tier 1 in their favor.
Nice indeed.
Nice
Shout
indeed,
it out.
yeah.
Then it is. You know what? They traded. They traded and they got away with it. Memorize very nearly went down. Andre waiting on the wings. They're looking for this one. Up comes Ibu as well from the side. They go for Veos. Veos is the focus target. In comes Ibu. It's not going to be enough though. And again, another escape still remains without a death.
They're threatening just every single time. Game Lord need to be careful about their positioning. The vision for Team Queso is really strong. Ruiz has got flash available. They are trying to threaten a...
They're going to dive.
They're going to dive him. They're going to dive him.
They're going to dive Redemption. Show comes back. That could be dangerous. Obviously, the VODs is there as well, so now they realize it can't work, and now the counter could come through as Random tries to get around the side there. Ruiz will back away from that one. Andre still waiting in the wings, but nothing can come from that. Stood on a ward.
Low HPs from Game Lords right now. You have to be very careful if you're in this situation. It's so easy for Team Queso to pull the trigger and find the engage onto your backline, especially with Memorized and one of his best champions. Team Queso, they're threatening every single time.
Andre's still waiting.
Yeah.
Still waiting around the side, and they're not going to catch Redemption. They thought they caught him. They may well have. Show comes down. Facial Vision. Shockwave goes out, and Memorize will get away. Andre also taken very low. They should be able to finish him up. No! No! We hit the 12-minute mark, and still no death.
You can see how much it means to both of these teams right now. No one wants to put a foot wrong. Both teams just try to find. There's a little attempted snipe, but I don't think it's going to get any work done, as both Andre and Memorize get back to base in time. The vision control for Team Queso has been impeccable again, something that Game Lord does need to step up here. They're not sweeping enough, or are sweeping in the right areas. Haven't got enough ward coverage of their own right now.
I feel that we're going to have one team fight and be done.
I feel
that may actually be it. Yeah, this is getting scary. I don't think there's enough towers down for that to happen yet, because objectives have been pretty slow, in all honesty. We're at 12, nearly 13 minutes, and there's only 3 towers down, 0 kills, 1,000 gold between the two. Really not a lot to decide it. Game Lord, sorry, a little bit out of position. I'm so used to Queso being on the blue side. Tripping myself up, and that's going to be Zefta coming in looking for Ibu. Thought he'd caught him, doesn't catch him because, well, as you can see, Xayah is very tricky to pin down.
Yeah, it was a really nice Feather Storm there from Xayah to ensure that she keeps herself safe ahead of this neutral objective. But it is a Feather Storm that is down for this neutral objective, and that is the important part. The kick's still available. No, actually, Zefta has used that kick, so hasn't got that available for the time being. The Ocean Drake will spawn here. Game Lord just getting mid lane prio at this point in time.
I mean, it is just an Ocean Drake. It's not a big deal. Yes, it's going to be a decent amount of gold for everyone, but in a tight game like this,
you don't take the risk at this stage.
This is just not worth. And with Game Lord having the position, and still ward coverage is looking good for Queso. They're now all time out, so it's a little late for them to get involved here. Draken down to half. Zefta already in there. Here comes Andre and Acolyte. They want to get involved. Andre comes in for the smite fight. It goes the way of Game Lord, and now the fight kicks off. At last, we have some kills, and it's Queso coming out on top, and they can chase this one down. Andre comes in. Acolyte pulls in Veos, gets him back down, and it is a 4-0. They're going to turn and burn for Baron.
It was a really weird setup from Game Lord. They went for the Drake. It was just an Ocean Drake, but they split their DPS across the wall, and unfortunately, Redemption and Veos were way too split away. They couldn't zone away the Team Queso roster, and they're going straight for Baron here. I don't think Zefta can make a difference.
No, he's too far away. The Baron will go down, and Queso will lock it in. They all left it a little late there. Everyone was back in. Someone hit it, please. But right, okay. Finally, we have ourselves some kills. Let's have a look at the replay and try and break that one down.
I think it really is just a setup for the fight here from the Game Lord. They were, again, way too split on a neutral objective. You can see the Veos and Redemption doing nothing. Redemption actually tries to get into the fight with the Blast Cone, which was a mistake. And they jump over the wall and catch him out. The Shockwave wasn't big enough. And honestly, the Game Lord don't want to play these types of fights. They want a big open terrain where they can kite backwards with the Orianna and the Ezreal. And that is a huge loss for them in an absolutely crucial game of the series. Random has been able to do absolutely nothing. But there is still good, healthy gold leads for Redemption and Random. They're in a good spot.
And this is the first time that Queso have truly led the game, as opposed to picking up off a mistake from Game Lord. Yes, you could argue it was a mistake, but it was a pretty even game at the time. Let's see how the Baron power play can work out for them here, as Ruiz and Andre will try and get them pressured down on the turret, but they've got to be careful. They're being collapsed on, but look at the help. The help is coming in the jungle at the moment, as Ibu will pressure down the mid turret, so the mid tier 2 turret also should fall here.
I think, unfortunately, Game Lord in a situation where if they don't go for a fight, they're going to end up losing a huge amount on the map. And Team Queso are in a super strong spot now with this Baron.
All 3 tier 2 turrets, I think, are going to fall here because the damage has been put down as well on that top turret by Acolyte. True Shot Barrage comes across. They really want to focus onto Ruiz, not the ideal target. They're looking for it. The pick comes in. They get the knock-up, and they get the one down. That may just hold them, but they're losing an inhib turret for it.
Yeah, Darius, he's going to try and go for it. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the minion wave to work with. If they can just keep this alive, that'll be a nice little win that might push this Baron back for the time being.
He can walk away, regen the health, keep his team alive, and was that the...
Random went down.
Okay, it was just a pick. I thought it was the turret. I was like, wait.
Random went down. He just
it's exciting to get Random down. Don't
you take those little wins. You take those little wins.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Queso, 5,000 gold lead. Inhibitor turret on nothing. Let's have a quick look at this. This is the initial engage.
This is the initial engage. Actually, no, this might be where Random went down. That's where Random went
just
down.
Andre getting in.
He just overextended a little bit, maybe overestimated how much riposte would get him in that scenario. Elder Dragon spawning soon, but really, 5k gold lead, it is a decent advantage for Team Queso, but might not mean everything heading into this final set of fights. And you really feel like it is going to be this final set of fights because we're 17 minutes into the game, and you could literally sneeze on that top lane tower and it drops.
You hate to see the double wards going down like that, but this is the tentative time that it is for GameLord. Look at that, just feathering off the side. They want to finish off the inhibitor turret. They're going for the top inhibitor turret. That's what the focus is, and it's absolutely the right choice to go for us. Queso will force down the first inhib turret and just completely mind game GameLord.
Yeah, they've got great control of the blue side jungle. GameLord could do nothing about the control. They're going for the cuts. Memorize looking for the engage.
Going in for it. That's a great knockup coming through. Memorize will get out alive somehow. And in goes Ruiz, trying to put the damage down. He will get himself the knockup in, try and walk out of there with the damage that he's got. And it is a 2-for-0 trade. GameLord are reeling, and the Elder Dragon is going to Queso, surely.
It's low HP bars, though. They're waiting for the E. Pulls him in right there. There we go.
It's now or never. And Queso look to take control, and they will. Random will fall into the team ace, and surely the game for the Spaniards. Team Queso coming into this, the team that everybody wanted to choose. And my word, as it backfired, as Queso will take the game. What a fantastic performance. I think they speak for themselves. Team Queso into the finals. 3-2. They were 2-0 up. The momentum swung against them for GameLord, but it will be Queso in the final. Oh, what a series.
End of the day, they played it well. They had an excellent play in that last game. You could see that both teams were really, really tentative about how they were approaching these fights. But one wrong foot for GameLord, and Queso were able to capitalize.
I don't know about you guys, but that was probably the closest thing I've seen to a Mexican standoff for the entire game. Like, it went deathless for like 14 minutes. They all just stood there, holding over, ready to get that revolver out.
I don't remember
and the kills come in.
A Wild Rift game that's gone 12+ minutes without a death.
No, it's so